Most of what you experience as you is noise. A voice narrating everything. Judging, comparing, worrying, rehearsing, defending. Pulling the past into the present and projecting the future into fear. That voice isn't evil. It isn't broken. But it isn't who you are. It's the ego. A mental structure designed to protect, predict, and control. And while it's useful for survival, it quietly becomes a prison when it runs your life. This book isn't about destroying the ego. That's another ego fantasy. It's about no longer being run by it. Consciousness is not something you need to create or earn. It's already here. In the space before thought. In the awareness that notices emotion. In the stillness beneath reaction. The problem isn't that you think too much. It's that you mistake thought for truth and identity for awareness. This guide exists for one reason: to help you recognize the difference between the mind and consciousness, and to learn how to live from the latter, practically, quietly, and consistently. This is not a book to rush. It's not about beliefs. And it doesn't require you to adopt a new philosophy or spiritual identity. You'll find clear explanations without mysticism, practices you can use in ordinary moments, ways to notice ego without fighting it, and tools to return to presence when life pulls you back into noise. Read slowly, pause often, and notice what happens when you stop trying to become something and simply observe what already is. Introduction: Beyond the Ego. Understanding the concept of ego. The ego is a complex psychological construct that plays a significant role in shaping our identity and influencing our perceptions and behaviors. It acts as a mediator between our inner desires and the social world, helping us navigate various situations and relationships. We often think of the ego as being synonymous with self-identity. It is the component of our personality that we present to the world. The ego helps us establish a sense of self, but it can also create a distorted view of who we are and how we relate to others. The ego operates within our consciousness, forming our thoughts and feelings about ourselves and our place in the world. Through various experiences, our ego builds a belief system that dictates how we react to events and how we perceive our environment. This psychological construct is not inherently negative. It provides us with the self-confidence and assertiveness to pursue our goals. However, the ego can become problematic when it leads to a rigid self-image that does not allow for growth or change, often causing us to feel disconnected from our authentic selves. The influence of the ego extends beyond mere self-perception. It shapes our interactions with others and impacts our emotional responses. A strong ego often leads to a heightened sense of separation, as we focus on our individual identities instead of feeling interconnected with those around us. This separation can foster feelings of isolation, defensiveness, and competition. For example, when our self-esteem is threatened, we may react with anger or jealousy, both of which stem from an inflated ego driven by insecurity. Understanding how the ego operates can help us recognize the moments when it leads us away from authentic connection. To transcend the limitations imposed by our ego, we need to cultivate self-awareness and mindfulness. Acknowledging the patterns of our thoughts and behaviors is the first step toward understanding how the ego influences our lives. By exploring our motivations and reflecting on our experiences, we can begin to see the difference between our true selves and the ego-driven identity we often present. This recognition allows us to break free from the constraints of the ego and foster a deeper connection with our true essence. Practicing mindfulness can be particularly effective in overcoming the ego's influence. Techniques such as meditation and deep breathing can help quiet the mind and provide clarity. These practices encourage us to observe our thoughts without judgment, allowing us to detach from the ego's grip. As we become more aware of our thoughts and emotions, we create space for self-acceptance and compassion, essential for nourishing our authentic selves. Fostering this genuine connection with ourselves and others leads to greater emotional well-being and personal growth. Understanding the concept of ego is crucial for personal development. By recognizing how it operates within us, we can work towards a healthier relationship with ourselves and learn how to minimize its impact. When we approach our thoughts and feelings with curiosity and openness, we begin to pave the way toward a more fulfilling and authentic existence. Embracing this journey requires patience and commitment, but the rewards of a deeper understanding of ourselves are worth the effort. The purpose of this book. The ego is often seen as the center of our identity, shaping how we perceive ourselves and the world around us. It collects memories, forms beliefs, and creates a narrative about who we are. While the ego can help us navigate daily life by providing a sense of stability and control, it also has clear boundaries. It tends to filter experiences through personal biases and attachments, which can lead to a narrow perception of reality. This limits our ability to see beyond surface appearances and to connect with a deeper sense of awareness. When we rely solely on the ego, our thinking becomes confined to patterns that are shaped by fears, desires, and past conditioning. Such limitations may cause us to react to situations rather than respond from a place of clarity. The ego often resists change and growth because it sees anything unfamiliar as a threat to its established identity. As a result, many people remain stuck in repetitive cycles of thought and behavior that prevent them from fully experiencing life or understanding their true nature. To access a richer, more expansive level of consciousness, it is necessary to move beyond the ego's confines. This means stepping out of automatic mental habits and opening to a broader awareness that includes but is not dominated by the ego's voice. When this shift happens, we begin to experience reality with fresh eyes, noticing the subtle layers beneath thought and form. It is in this expanded state that genuine peace, creativity, and insight emerge, allowing us to live with more presence and authenticity. This book aims to serve as a practical guide that helps readers awaken to a state of awareness beyond the usual mental chatter and ego-based constructs. Rather than offering abstract theories, it focuses on clear, actionable approaches to recognize and move beyond the limitations of ordinary thinking. The goal is to support anyone who is seeking a deeper connection with themselves and the world, one that is grounded in direct experience rather than belief or speculation. By reading this book, you will find tools and insights designed to make the process of awakening accessible and manageable. It invites you to observe your own patterns of thought and emotion, gently questioning what you have accepted as your true self. Through this process, you can begin to identify the layers of conditioning that obscure your natural state of awareness. The exercises and reflections included are meant to guide you in cultivating a steady practice of presence and mindfulness, helping you navigate life from a place of clarity rather than reactivity. The intention here is not to replace one belief system with another, but to help you experience reality directly and freely. Living from a state of true awareness means responding to life as it unfolds, without the distortion of ego-based fears or desires. This shift changes how challenges and opportunities appear, allowing for more creative solutions and a greater sense of ease. Ultimately, this book guides you toward a way of living that feels more alive, balanced, and connected to what is real and immediate. To start cultivating this awareness, try setting aside just a few minutes each day to quietly observe your thoughts without judgment. Notice how often the mind drifts to familiar patterns, and gently bring your attention back to the present moment. This simple practice can gradually loosen the grip of the ego's habitual stories and open the door to a fuller experience of life beyond mental noise. How to use this guide. This guide is designed to support you in your journey to go beyond the ego and discover a deeper understanding of yourself. It offers tools, insights, and exercises that can help you navigate different stages of realization. Feel free to approach this material at your own pace, knowing that there is no right or wrong way to engage with it. The goal is to make the process as smooth and meaningful as possible, serving as a companion along your path. To make the most of this guide, it's helpful to treat each chapter as a standalone section that can be revisited whenever you need clarity or motivation. Take time to read slowly, pausing to reflect on what resonates with you. You might find it useful to keep a journal nearby, jotting down thoughts, questions, or insights that arise from each chapter. Remember, this is your personal journey, so adapt the material to suit your needs and your timing. There's no rush. Progress comes from consistency, not speed. Approaching each chapter with an open mind allows you to absorb new perspectives and challenge limiting beliefs. When you read, try to stay present with your feelings and thoughts. As you encounter exercises or prompts, consider how they relate to your daily life. Small acts of mindfulness, like observing your breath or noticing your habits, can help you integrate what you learn here into everyday situations. This guide is meant to be a toolkit, so use the ideas that resonate most and adapt them to fit your experiences. If a particular chapter or concept feels challenging or confusing, don't hesitate to pause and revisit it later. Sometimes, understanding develops over time through repeated reflection. It can also be helpful to discuss your thoughts with others or to practice these ideas in real-life scenarios. The key is patience. Trust that with each step, you're moving closer to a clearer sense of self beyond the ego. Keep in mind that growth happens gradually, and small shifts today can lead to meaningful change over time. For practical use, try setting simple intentions before you begin each chapter. For example, you might decide, today, I will pay attention to my reactions, or I will notice where I feel resistance. These intentions act as gentle guideposts that deepen your engagement. After completing a chapter or exercise, pause again to reflect on what you've learned or experienced. Sometimes, writing a brief note about your insights can help solidify your understanding and track your progress. Over time, this practice builds a personal map of your evolution beyond the ego. Remember that the real value of this guide is in your willingness to explore honestly and openly. It's normal to encounter discomfort or uncertainty. That's part of the process. Treat these moments as opportunities to learn more about yourself. The more you practice mindfulness, reflection, and consciously applying concepts, the easier it becomes to navigate the journey inward. By using this guide as a flexible resource rather than a strict rulebook, you allow your personal growth to unfold naturally and meaningfully. An additional tip is to incorporate small routines from the guide into daily life. This could be as simple as taking a few deep breaths before reacting in a stressful situation or pausing to observe your thoughts during a busy day. These small steps can lead to larger shifts over time, helping you stay connected to your intention of moving beyond the ego. Keep in mind that your experience is unique, so listen closely to what your inner self is telling you and adjust your approach as needed. The key is consistency and gentle curiosity as you navigate this process. Chapter 1: The Nature of Consciousness. Defining consciousness. Consciousness is often regarded as the fundamental awareness that forms the bedrock of all human experience. It goes beyond mere thoughts and perceptions, representing a deeper sense of being that influences how we interact with the world. At its core, consciousness is the state of being aware of one's surroundings, sensations, and inner thoughts. This awareness is what allows individuals to experience life in a subjective manner, shaping their understanding and interpretation of the environment around them. Many people consider consciousness to be essential to the human experience. It is through consciousness that feelings arise, memories are formed, and decisions are made. This concept serves as the lens through which individuals perceive reality, making it multifaceted and deeply personal. Without consciousness, there would be no experience to speak of. Thoughts would exist in isolation, devoid of significance. While consciousness and the mind are often used interchangeably, it is crucial to recognize their distinctions. The mind can encompass thoughts, beliefs, memories, and emotions, representing a collection of cognitive processes. In contrast, consciousness is the awareness of those thoughts and processes. One can think and analyze without being conscious of the underlying feelings or motivations that drive those thoughts. Understanding this difference can deepen one's appreciation of the mental processes involved in daily life. A practical approach to exploring consciousness involves direct experiential understanding. Engaging in mindfulness practices, such as meditation or focused breathing, allows individuals to tap into their consciousness by observing thoughts without judgment. Such practices foster a greater awareness of one's thoughts, feelings, and sensations. By engaging in these activities, individuals can draw a clearer distinction between their conscious awareness and the myriad of thoughts generated by the mind. Recognizing the essence of consciousness encourages a broader appreciation of personal experience. It reminds individuals that awareness is not only about knowing what is happening externally, but also about understanding one's internal landscape. Becoming more conscious of our thoughts and feelings can lead to greater emotional intelligence and a fuller experience of life. Consciousness versus mind. Consciousness and the mind are often used interchangeably in everyday conversation, but they refer to different aspects of our inner experience. Consciousness is the awareness we have of ourselves and the world around us. It is the state of being awake and able to perceive, feel, and think. The mind, on the other hand, is the collection of cognitive processes that include thinking, reasoning, remembering, and imagining. While consciousness reflects the immediate experience of being aware, the mind is the machinery that processes information behind the scenes. Think of consciousness as the stage where our thoughts, emotions, and perceptions appear, whereas the mind is the backstage work preparing the scenes and cues. Consciousness is what allows us to notice a beautiful sunset, while the mind processes why we find it beautiful or recalls a memory associated with sunsets. The mind can be unconscious at times. It carries out complex functions such as regulating breathing, filtering sensory inputs, or storing memories without our direct awareness. Consciousness, however, is always connected to the present moment of awareness, though it can fluctuate in clarity and depth. Every moment of conscious experience involves awareness of something, whether it is a sensation, a thought, or an emotion. The mind may generate many thoughts and responses below this awareness, but consciousness acts as the light that shines on these inner activities. This distinction is crucial because it shows that consciousness is not a thing that does, but rather a condition in which experiences happen. The mind is active and works continuously, but consciousness simply is, observing, recognizing, and linking the flow of experience. A widespread misconception is that consciousness and mind are identical, leading many to believe that every mental activity must be conscious. Yet, much of what the mind does occurs outside of awareness, shaping behaviors, beliefs, and emotions without being explicitly noticed. Confusing consciousness with the mind can result in difficulty distinguishing between what we are actively aware of and the deeper processes influencing us. Another common misunderstanding is viewing consciousness as a static or singular thing. Consciousness is actually a dynamic experience, shifting from focused attention to a broader sense of presence. Recognizing this helps in avoiding the trap of identifying too strongly with passing thoughts or emotions as if they define our entire being. Instead, it creates space to see the mind's activity as content appearing in consciousness rather than as the totality of self. Clearly distinguishing consciousness from the mind can bring practical benefits. When you realize awareness is distinct from the thoughts and feelings passing through it, you gain the ability to observe them without being controlled by them. This simple shift can improve emotional regulation, reduce reactivity, and foster a deeper sense of peace. It encourages living with intention by choosing what to focus on in consciousness rather than being swept away by every mental event the mind produces. For example, if you become aware that stress arises from mind-generated worries rather than an immediate external threat, you can step back and address the situation more calmly. Understanding these differences invites a habit of mindfulness, where you practice noticing thoughts and emotions as producers of content in consciousness rather than facts demanding action. This approach nurtures a healthier relationship with the mind and allows consciousness to serve as a steady ground amidst mental fluctuations. One practical tip is to spend moments throughout the day simply noting what you are aware of without trying to analyze or change it. This can help train the ability to differentiate between the observer, consciousness, and the observed, mind's activity. Building this skill supports clearer thinking, emotional balance, and a sense of agency in how you engage with your inner and outer worlds. The role of awareness in daily life. Awareness is the basic mechanism that allows us to recognize what is happening around us and within us at any given moment. It is the thread that weaves together our perceptions, thoughts, and feelings, forming the fabric of our conscious experience. From the moment we wake up until we go to sleep, awareness quietly operates behind the scenes, guiding us through daily routines. Whether we are aware of it or not, it influences how we interpret events, react to stimuli, and make decisions. Recognizing awareness as the foundation of consciousness helps us understand that every aspect of human experience begins with simply noticing what is present in our moment-to-moment life. This awareness is not limited to grand moments or profound insights. It exists equally in the smallest details of daily life. When we notice the warmth of the sun on our skin, the taste of our morning coffee, or the sound of birds outside, we are engaging our awareness. It acts like an active spotlight that illuminates certain aspects of our environment and internal state while leaving others in the background. This continuous presence shapes how we experience reality and how meaningful or overwhelming that experience feels. Developing a clearer perception of this awareness helps us become more connected to the world around us, making everyday moments richer and more tangible. Recognizing awareness as ever-present can also reveal how often our minds drift from the present to worries about the future or regrets about the past. These mental shifts happen without us realizing it most of the time. Yet, awareness can serve as a tool to catch these moments and bring our focus back to what is actually happening now. This process does not require special effort or strain. It simply involves paying gentle attention to the ongoing flow of experience. As we become more familiar with this kind of awareness, it starts to feel more natural and accessible in everyday life, laying the groundwork for a more mindful way of living. Practicing mindfulness involves intentionally paying attention to the present moment without judgment or distraction. It is about cultivating the habit of noticing what you are experiencing right now, your breath, sensations in your body, sounds around you, or thoughts passing through your mind. This practice does not require a special setting. It can be integrated into routine activities such as eating, walking, or even washing dishes. The goal is to develop a gentle, consistent attention that keeps you rooted in the here and now. Over time, mindfulness helps you distinguish between autopilot and active awareness, making everyday choices more deliberate and meaningful. Discernment complements mindfulness by helping you recognize which thoughts, feelings, and sensations are most relevant to your current experience. Instead of reacting automatically to every impulse or piece of information, discernment encourages a pause, a moment to observe what is happening and decide whether to engage with it. For example, noticing that a petty irritation is arising during a busy day allows you to choose whether to dwell on it or let it pass without giving it undue importance. Building this awareness of your internal responses fosters clearer understanding of your habits and reactions. As a result, you gain greater control over how you respond to life's challenges, rather than being carried away by them impulsively. Implementing mindfulness and discernment does not mean trying to eliminate distractions or create a perfectly calm mind. Instead, it involves accepting whatever is present with openness and curiosity. Simple practices, like taking a few mindful breaths before starting a task or pausing for a moment of reflection during stressful situations, can substantially increase your awareness. Over time, these small acts accumulate, gradually transforming how you approach daily life. By consistently cultivating mindful awareness and discerning what truly matters, you can experience life more fully, with clearer understanding and greater peace of mind. Chapter 2. Identifying the Ego. Recognizing ego patterns. Ego patterns are deeply rooted in how we perceive ourselves and interact with the world. Essentially, the ego represents our self-image and self-worth, influencing thoughts, emotions, and actions. When we allow our ego to dominate our responses, we might react defensively, crave validation, or reject criticism. These patterns can shape our relationships, decision-making, and overall well-being. Examples of ego-driven behavior include seeking approval from others, feeling superior or inferior in various contexts, or resisting change out of fear of losing control. For instance, someone who constantly seeks praise may struggle with feelings of inadequacy without external validation. Conversely, a person who feels superior might dismiss others' opinions, isolating themselves from potentially enriching conversations and connections. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward understanding how they may limit us. When we understand that the ego often acts out of fear or insecurity, we can begin to disentangle these emotional responses from our true self. This process can be challenging, as our habits are often ingrained, but awareness is the key to change. Self-awareness plays a crucial role in identifying our ego patterns. One effective way to develop this awareness is through mindfulness practices such as meditation or journaling. These techniques encourage reflection, allowing us to observe our thoughts without judgment. For example, consider a moment of tension in a conversation. Instead of reacting impulsively, take a moment to pause. Ask yourself what thoughts are driving your response. Are you trying to prove a point? Are you afraid of being wrong? These reflections can reveal underlying ego-driven behavior. Another practical approach is to seek feedback from trusted friends or family. They can provide insights into how our actions or words might be perceived. Listening to others can help illuminate patterns we might overlook. It's essential to approach this feedback with an open mind, recognizing that our ego might initially resist hearing differing perspectives. Engaging in regular self-reflection is also valuable. At the end of each day, take some time to consider your interactions and feelings. Ask yourself questions like, did I feel defensive today? Were there moments I sought approval? By consistently reflecting on these experiences, we create a clearer picture of our ego patterns and their impact on our lives. Ultimately, acknowledging and understanding our ego patterns can lead to healthier, more authentic interactions. By practicing self-awareness and being open to feedback, we can learn to respond rather than react. This shift not only enhances our relationships, but also fosters personal growth. Common ego attachments. Ego attachments are the ways we tie our sense of self to external factors and identities. These attachments often shape how we see ourselves and how we react to the world around us. For example, many people link their ego to their careers, believing their job title or status defines their worth. When this happens, any challenge to their professional role can feel like a personal attack, triggering stress and defensiveness. Similarly, ego attachments show up in how we identify with our opinions or beliefs. People often become deeply attached to their viewpoints, finding it difficult to consider alternative perspectives without feeling threatened. This attachment can lead to conflicts, as defending the ego's stance takes precedence over open dialogue or understanding. In relationships, too, ego attachments appear when someone's identity depends on being right or having control, which can create tension and misunderstanding. Another common area for ego attachment is societal approval. Many seek validation through the opinions of others, whether through social media likes, compliments, or approval from peers. This external validation becomes a temporary boost to the ego, but often leaves a person vulnerable to disappointment or anxiety when it fades. The core of these attachments lies in the false belief that the ego's survival depends on external factors like success, acceptance, or recognition. Recognizing ego attachments starts with becoming aware of moments when your reactions are overly emotional or defensive. Notice when your sense of self feels threatened or when you feel a strong need to prove yourself. This awareness creates a pause that allows you to reflect instead of reacting automatically. Mindfulness practices can help by training you to observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment, making ego-driven impulses less overpowering. Another approach is to question the beliefs that fuel your attachments. For instance, if your ego clings to success at work, ask yourself what defines success beyond external achievement. By exploring deeper values, you can shift the source of self-worth from fragile conditions to more stable, inner qualities like effort or growth. Letting go does not mean giving up ambition or goals, but rather detaching your identity from the outcome and embracing the journey itself. It also helps to practice humility and cultivate empathy toward others. Recognizing that everyone struggles with their own ego attachments opens space for connection instead of competition. When you can see others beyond the roles and labels they project, it becomes easier to release your own need for superiority or control. Developing gratitude for simple moments and inner peace can soften the grip of ego drives, fostering a more conscious and balanced way of living. In practical terms, when you feel caught in an ego attachment, try pausing to take a few deep breaths and ask yourself what's really at stake. Often, the threat seems bigger than it is because ego inflates the fear of loss or failure. By bringing calm and perspective into the moment, it becomes possible to respond with clarity rather than reactivity. Over time, this practice builds resilience and frees energy that was once locked up in protecting the ego, allowing you to live more fully and authentically. The impact of ego on behavior. The ego often acts as a silent filter through which we interpret nearly every interaction and decision. It shapes our perceptions in subtle ways, making us judge situations and people based on personal desires or fears. When the ego is involved, our behaviors tend to come from a place of self-preservation, often leading to defensiveness or a need to prove ourselves right. This can create a barrier between us and others, making it harder to listen openly or see things from a different perspective. Recognizing how the ego influences our daily choices can help us step back and make more conscious decisions. We tend to become attached to our opinions and achievements, equating them with our sense of worth. This attachment fuels behaviors driven by ego, like defensive reactions when our self-image is challenged. For example, someone who feels their competence is threatened may react with anger or withdrawal instead of accepting constructive criticism. Even small disagreements can escalate because the ego perceives them as personal attacks. Over time, these reactions can lead to persistent misunderstandings and conflicts, making authentic connections difficult. When we identify the ways ego influences our reactions, we gain a chance to choose responses rooted in honesty rather than insecurity. Many decisions we make daily are influenced by the desire to preserve or boost our ego. This can include seeking approval from others, bragging about our accomplishments, or avoiding situations where we might fail. In relationships, ego-driven behavior often manifests as trying to be right rather than understanding, which can create emotional distance. At work, ego can cause us to resist feedback or concede authority, which limits growth. Personal growth becomes hard when the ego clouds our judgment and keeps us from accepting that we don't have all the answers. Increasing awareness of our ego's role can lead us to act with more humility and openness. Understanding how ego shapes our actions offers a pathway to more genuine interactions. When we notice feelings of pride, shame, or superiority creeping in, we can pause. That pause can help us respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively based on ego needs. Recognizing ego-driven behaviors in ourselves can be uncomfortable but is essential for growth. By observing these patterns, we can work toward behavior fueled by authenticity rather than defensiveness. Being honest with ourselves about the ego's influence opens the door to more meaningful and satisfying relationships with others and ourselves. A useful tip is to practice mindful awareness throughout the day. When you catch yourself reacting strongly, whether with anger, defensiveness, or arrogance, pause and ask, "Is my ego driving this response?" This simple question can help you detach from automatic reactions and create space for more intentional behavior. Over time, this consistency builds a habit of responding from a place of clarity rather than ego, leading to healthier interactions and a more honest self-view. Chapter 3: The Illusion of Separation. Understanding oneness. Oneness refers to the idea that all existence is interconnected, threading through the core of our reality. This concept challenges the perception that we are isolated individuals, distinct from one another. Instead, it suggests that everything in the universe is part of a single, vast whole. Many philosophical and spiritual teachings emphasize this idea, often suggesting that separation is an illusion created by our minds. In essence, the view of oneness invites us to see beyond the surface level of existence, moving towards a deeper understanding of our shared nature. Throughout history, various traditions and thinkers have grappled with the implications of oneness. Eastern philosophies like Buddhism and Hinduism present this concept with rich metaphors and teachings. They illustrate how the ego, or the self, can create a false sense of separation, leading to feelings of isolation and conflict. In contrast, the embracing of oneness can lead to harmony, compassion, and a sense of belonging. By recognizing our shared humanity and interconnectedness with nature and the universe, we can cultivate a greater sense of peace and purpose. Experiencing and embodying oneness requires conscious effort and intention. One effective approach is through mindfulness practices. Engaging in activities like meditation or simple breathing exercises helps quiet the mind and draws attention to the present moment. In these moments of stillness, people often discover a deep sense of connection with themselves and their surroundings. This practice can gradually dissolve the barriers that create feelings of separateness. Another way to embody oneness is through acts of kindness and compassion. These actions serve to reinforce the understanding that we are all part of the same collective experience. Volunteering, helping a neighbor, or simply sharing a smile can significantly impact both the giver and the receiver. These interactions not only brighten someone's day, but also deepen our connection with humanity, reminding us of our shared experiences and emotions. Spending time in nature offers another perspective on oneness. Observing the cycles of life in natural surroundings can evoke a sense of belonging to something larger than ourselves. Whether it's a walk in the park or a hike in the mountains, nature has a way of grounding us, revealing the interconnected web of life that we are all part of. Engaging with nature helps to break down feelings of individual separation, connecting us to something greater. Incorporating gratitude into our daily routine also reinforces the sense of oneness. Reflecting on what we are thankful for can shift our focus from what separates us to what we share. Recognizing the contributions of others in our lives fosters a sense of connection. By expressing appreciation for family, friends, and even strangers, we celebrate the interconnectedness of our experiences. Ultimately, understanding and experiencing oneness is a journey of awareness and practice. Each moment presents an opportunity to connect more deeply with ourselves and the world around us. The more consciously we engage with the principles of oneness, the more alive and fulfilling our lives can become. Embracing practices that encourage connection among people and the environment allows us to move beyond the illusion of separation, leading to a more harmonious existence. Breaking the illusion of separation. We often experience ourselves as separate beings, distinct and isolated from others and the world around us. This feeling of separation seems natural because it is reinforced by how we identify with our names, bodies, and personal histories. Yet, beneath this surface, the sense of being alone is something our mind creates. It arises from how we interpret sensory information and attach meaning to it, dividing the world into me and not me. This division forms the foundation of what is often called the illusion of separation. The illusion stems from the way we perceive time and space. When we look at ourselves in a mirror, we see a bounded figure, a clear shape that ends at the skin. From a young age, we learn to distinguish self from other, and that binary thinking extends into every aspect of life. People become strangers or friends, places turn into homes or foreign lands, and experiences are either beneficial or harmful to our individual self. This view narrows our awareness to a small part of reality, ignoring the underlying connections between everything around us. Our brains are wired to categorize and label, which helps us navigate complex environments but strengthens the impression that we exist apart from others. Language itself reinforces boundaries by creating names and concepts that isolate phenomena. When we call something separate, our mind accepts that separation is real. This mechanism plays a major role in emotions like fear, judgment, and competition, which thrive on distinguishing us versus them. Yet, science shows that at a fundamental level, everything in the universe is interrelated. Atoms in our bodies were once stars. We share genetic material with plants and animals. Ecosystems depend on countless interactions to sustain life. While the mind focuses on what divides, reality reveals a continuous flow of connection. Breaking free from the idea of separation requires stepping outside habitual thought patterns and opening perception to a more expansive experience. One way to do this is through mindful awareness of the present moment. When attention moves from judging and labeling to simply observing what is happening right now, the hard boundaries between self and others soften. Spending time in nature can aid this process, as natural settings invite a felt sense of belonging without the distractions of social identities or mental narratives. Another practical approach involves focused breathing and gentle meditation. By turning attention inward to the breath, awareness becomes anchored in the body, yet free from the constant flow of thoughts. People often report a sense of expansion and connection during these practices, noticing that they are part of a larger whole rather than isolated in their heads. Engaging in acts of compassion or kindness can also help dismantle separation, as these actions remind us how our well-being is intertwined with that of others. When we care for another being, the boundary that separates I from you begins to lose its sharpness. It is also helpful to reflect on moments when the illusion fades naturally. Sometimes, in intense experiences like listening to music, creating art, or being absorbed in a deep conversation, people temporarily forget their separateness. Remembering these instances can provide clues to how interconnected existence feels beyond intellectual understanding. Gradually, with practice and patience, the mind's grip on separation loosens, allowing space for a more unified perspective to arise. This shift does not require abandoning individuality, but rather seeing the self as part of a greater whole where boundaries are flexible rather than fixed. Paying attention to our language and thought patterns can also reveal habitual separations we impose on reality. Questioning assumptions such as, I am alone, or others are different from me, helps weaken their hold. Instead, adopting thoughts like, I am connected, or we share this moment, can gradually rewire the brain toward awareness of unity. Integrating these ideas into everyday life promotes a sense of harmony and reduces feelings of isolation or alienation. One practical tip is to intentionally observe your environment not as separate items, but as parts of an interconnected system. Notice how the air you breathe, the food you eat, and the people you meet are all linked. This perspective encourages gratitude and presence, breaking down mental walls built on separation. Recognizing that every action ripples outward emphasizes responsibility and connection, nourishing a deeper understanding of life's unity. The connection between self and others. At the core of human experience is a sense of individual identity, a continuous thread that makes us see ourselves as separate entities moving through life. This feeling of being distinct helps us navigate daily routines, make decisions, and protect our personal boundaries. Yet, it is often based on perceptions and stories we tell ourselves about who we are. This sense of separation is reinforced by our societal structures, language, and even the way we interpret our emotions and thoughts. Despite feeling separate, many aspects of our existence are intertwined with others, influencing our moods, choices, and sense of well-being. This perceived division between self and others has a tendency to create barriers, blocks that prevent genuine understanding or empathy. We might think, that person is different from me, or I am my own person, which can result in feeling isolated even in crowded environments. This division helps us establish personal boundaries, but it can also foster a sense of loneliness or alienation when taken to an extreme. Recognizing how deeply ingrained this perception is helps us see that our sense of separateness is often constructed more by the mind than by reality itself. Understanding that the self is not an isolated island helps us realize that our identity is shaped through interactions and relationships. We are constantly influenced by those around us, through shared experiences, cultural norms, and even unspoken expectations. In fact, some aspects of our personality, beliefs, and even values borrow heavily from others' influence, showing how interconnected we truly are. While we may feel like separate beings, underneath, our existence is woven into a collective fabric of human life, where no one is entirely separate from the rest. This perspective is not about dismissing personal boundaries or individuality, but rather about seeing beyond the illusion of complete separation. Recognizing the self as part of a greater interconnected whole can shift how we view ourselves and others. It opens the door for compassion, understanding, and a deeper connection that goes beyond surface-level interactions. When we accept that our self-identity is partly formed through relationships, we can feel more grounded, less isolated, and more open to meaningful interactions with those around us. When we begin to see ourselves as part of a larger whole, the illusion that we are entirely separate starts to fade. This realization can happen through small moments of awareness, like feeling empathy for someone's struggles or noticing how much of our mood depends on our environment. Recognizing these connections helps us understand that what happens to others often impacts us in some way, even if indirectly. This awareness encourages us to see people not just as outsiders or strangers, but as fellow travelers sharing similar hopes, fears, and dreams. As we acknowledge our interconnectedness, we naturally become more compassionate. Instead of judging or distancing ourselves from others, we start to appreciate their experiences and struggles as part of our shared human journey. This shift dissolves the barriers that keep relationships superficial. It creates space for genuine empathy, where we listen more attentively and respond with kindness rooted in understanding. Recognizing that we are part of the same human story makes authentic connection more accessible, transforming interactions into opportunities for mutual growth and support. Understanding our interconnectedness also affects how we handle conflicts. When we see the common ground we share, disagreements stop feeling like attacks on our separate identity. Instead, conflicts are viewed as moments to learn and understand different perspectives, fostering patience and compassion. This mindset promotes deeper bonds, where trust and openness flourish. Recognizing that our well-being is linked to others, we tend to act more thoughtfully, prioritizing collaboration over competition, and in doing so, strengthen our relationships. Practically, cultivating awareness of interconnectedness can start with simple acts, like pausing to consider how your mood influences or is influenced by those around you, or practicing gratitude for the support and kindness received daily. These small steps gradually dissolve the illusion of division, helping us live more fully connected lives. When we remember that our happiness and struggles are part of a larger tapestry, it becomes easier to build authentic connections that nourish both ourselves and those we encounter. Chapter 4: Living from Presence. Practicing presence in everyday life. Being fully present in everyday life is about developing an awareness of the moment. It can be as simple as noticing your breath while waiting for your coffee to brew or feeling the texture of your clothes against your skin during a busy day. These small moments can be opportunities to reconnect with the present. Start by focusing on the sensations around you. Tune in to the sights, sounds, and smells that are part of your immediate environment. When you pay attention to sensory experiences, you begin to anchor your mind, which often wanders to the future or the past. An effective way to practice this is to set intentional reminders throughout your day. You might choose to pause every hour and take 3 deep breaths. Notice how you feel as you shift your focus from your thoughts to your physical body. This simple act helps ground you in the present and can ease overwhelming feelings. As you incorporate these pauses, you'll find it easier to cultivate awareness during daily activities, whether it's while walking, eating, or working. Integrating presence into everyday interactions involves shifting your focus and intention during conversations and tasks. Start by practicing active listening when engaging with others. Instead of thinking about your response while someone else is speaking, concentrate fully on their words. This not only improves your connection with them, but also helps you remain present in the interaction. You might notice your thoughts drifting. When this happens, gently bring your attention back to the other person and their perspective. Another useful technique is to carry a mindfulness object with you. This could be a small stone, a piece of jewelry, or even a specific app on your phone that reminds you to check in with yourself. When you feel distracted or overwhelmed, take a moment to touch or look at this object. It serves as a cue to return your focus to the present moment. During routine tasks like washing dishes or driving, immerse yourself fully in the task at hand. Pay close attention to the sensations and movements involved. You might find that this simple act transforms mundane chores into opportunities for mindfulness. Creating an intention each morning to remain present throughout the day can also be beneficial. Write down a single word or phrase that embodies your goal for the day, such as awareness or calm. Keep this intent close. Look at it when you feel your thoughts drifting. Practicing presence in everyday life doesn't require extensive time or special techniques. A few intentional actions can significantly shift your experience. The benefits of living in the now. When you focus on the present moment, your mind becomes less cluttered with distractions from the past or worries about the future. This focus clears away mental fog, allowing ideas and decisions to come more easily. Instead of being overwhelmed by a flood of thoughts, you cultivate a sense of calm that opens space for sharpness and insight. This mental clarity reduces the constant noise that can make it difficult to concentrate, improving your ability to engage fully with the task at hand. Emotional stability often follows naturally from living in the now. By paying attention to what is happening rather than what might happen or what is already past, you can respond to feelings without being swept away by them. This practice helps prevent anxiety and regrets from taking control. Over time, this steady awareness strengthens patience, compassion, and resilience. The ability to observe emotions without judgment reduces emotional turbulence and fosters a balanced inner state. Overall well-being improves when everyday life is experienced with full attention. You start to notice small details that normally slip by unnoticed: the warmth of sunlight, the taste of food, or the sound of laughter. These simple moments become sources of joy and satisfaction. Your relationship with yourself deepens because you are no longer trying to escape or fix current experiences. Being present encourages a greater appreciation of life's rhythms, which promotes a healthier body and mind connection, contributing to lasting happiness. Stress is often caused by worrying about what is yet to come or regretting what has already happened. When your attention stays grounded in the now, these worries lose their grip. This shift decreases the production of stress hormones and quiets the restless mind, leading to physical and mental relaxation. People who practice presence regularly find they recover more quickly from stressful events and face everyday challenges with greater ease, making life feel less overwhelming. Presence has a powerful effect on relationships. When you are fully attentive during conversations and interactions, others feel seen and heard. This deepens trust and strengthens connections. It becomes easier to understand others' feelings and respond with kindness rather than reaction. By bringing genuine attention to your relationships, misunderstandings often lessen and empathy increases. Sharing moments without distraction also invites more meaningful and joyful experiences together. Living in the moment also leads to a richer sense of fulfillment. Instead of constantly chasing future achievements or material gains, you learn to find contentment in what is available right now. This shift reduces the need for external validation and shifting goals, grounding your happiness in everyday life. Success and pleasure become rooted in simple presence rather than endless striving. Life feels fuller and more rewarding when you savor your experiences as they unfold, rather than rushing past them. To strengthen your ability to live in the now, begin with small practices like focusing on your breath or tuning into your senses during routine activities. Even a few moments of intentional presence can help break the cycle of distraction and bring greater ease. By creating these small pockets of mindfulness throughout the day, you build a habit that gradually reshapes how you experience life. Overcoming distractions. Distractions are anything that pulls your attention away from the task at hand. They can come from inside your mind, like restless thoughts or worries, or from outside sources, such as noise, notifications, or interruptions from others. Recognizing what distracts you most often is the first step in managing them effectively. Sometimes, the small, seemingly harmless distractions, like a quick glance at social media or a sudden email alert, can break your concentration and make it difficult to get back on track. Distractions tend to be especially tempting when a task feels boring or overwhelming. Your brain naturally seeks out easier or more engaging activities as a way of avoiding discomfort or tedium. This means that when you're faced with complex or uninteresting work, distractions can flood in easily. Additionally, digital devices are designed to grab your attention constantly, making it harder to stay focused for longer periods. Understanding these triggers helps you develop strategies to resist them and stay committed to your priorities. External distractions such as noise, interruptions, or clutter also play a big role in breaking your focus. A noisy environment, for example, can make it hard to concentrate on reading or writing. Interruptions like phone calls or messages often pull you away from your work, and repeated disruptions can cause your mind to lose momentum. Cluttered desks or workspaces add to this feeling of chaos, making it harder to settle into a flow. Being aware of these external factors allows you to create a workspace that minimizes interruptions and fosters focus. It's useful to notice your own patterns of distraction and identify when they occur most. Do you tend to get distracted more when you're tired, hungry, or overwhelmed? Are certain times of day more prone to interruptions? Spotting these patterns helps you plan your work to avoid high distraction periods. Recognizing your personal triggers allows you to tailor your environment and routines to maximize your ability to concentrate, setting you up for greater productivity. One of the most effective ways to stay focused is to create a dedicated workspace. This space should be free of clutter and designed to support your work activities. If possible, set it up in a quiet area where noise is minimal. Using noise-canceling headphones or playing quiet background sounds can also help drown out external noise and improve concentration. Establishing a routine that limits your exposure to distractions during certain times can deepen your focus during those periods. Turning off notifications on your devices is another key step. Notifications are designed to grab your attention and can pull you out of your flow at any moment. Consider silencing your phone, disabling pop-up notifications, or placing your device in another room when deep work is required. Setting specific times to check emails or social media helps prevent constant interruptions and allows you to stay in the work zone longer. Creating boundaries around your digital activity guards your time and mental energy. Breaking larger tasks into smaller, manageable pieces makes them less daunting and reduces the temptation to drift away. When a task feels overwhelming, your mind may seek distractions as a form of escape. By focusing on a small step at a time, you can maintain momentum and build a sense of progress. Using timers or methods like the Pomodoro technique, where you work for focused intervals followed by short breaks, can help sustain attention and give your brain a rest periodically. It also helps to communicate your need for focus to others. Let family, friends, or colleagues know when you're working on something important and shouldn't be disturbed. Putting a symbolic sign on your door or workspace, like a Do Not Disturb sign, reinforces your boundaries. This reduces unexpected interruptions and encourages others to respect your dedicated time. Creating these signals fosters an environment where focus becomes easier to maintain. Lastly, develop habits that support focus. Regularly scheduled breaks, staying hydrated, and practicing mindfulness techniques can all improve your ability to stay attentive. When you notice your mind wandering, gently bringing it back to the task helps strengthen your focus muscles. Over time, these small daily practices build your resilience to distractions, making it easier to maintain concentration in both work and personal projects. Even with all these strategies, distractions can still creep in. The key is to acknowledge them without frustration and gently redirect your attention back to your task. Remember that no one maintains perfect focus all the time. When you notice your thoughts drifting, take a quick pause and breathe. Sometimes, simply acknowledging the distraction can reduce its power and make it easier to refocus. If you get sidetracked, resist the urge to punish yourself. Instead, use it as a moment to analyze what triggered the distraction and adjust your environment or routines accordingly. Keeping a small journal of your distraction patterns can help you spot recurring issues and develop targeted solutions. Over time, you'll become more skilled at managing interruptions and maintaining consistent focus. A practical tip is to set a specific goal for each work session. Whether it's completing a section of a report or replying to a set number of emails, having a clear objective keeps your mind directed. When your goal is achieved, you can give yourself a short reward, reinforcing your ability to stay on task. This builds a positive feedback loop where focused work becomes a habit rather than a constant struggle. Ultimately, controlling distractions comes down to awareness and proactive habits. Being mindful of your environment, setting boundaries, and practicing patience with yourself form the core of effective focus. Small, consistent adjustments can make a significant difference over time, helping you develop a steady, distraction-resistant mindset that allows for more productive, meaningful work. Chapter 5. Letting Go of the Mind's Narratives. Observing Thought Patterns. Thought patterns are the habitual ways our minds process information and respond to experiences. These patterns form from a combination of our beliefs, experiences, and learned behaviors. When we encounter situations, our thought patterns can shape how we perceive reality. For example, if someone often thinks negatively, they may interpret a neutral event as something bad, leading to unnecessary stress or anxiety. Conversely, a person with a positive outlook might celebrate the same event. Recognizing the way these patterns dictate our thoughts can open the door to greater self-awareness and change. Our thinking habits impact not just our moods, but also our decision-making processes. Cognitive biases, such as confirmation bias, cause us to favor information that aligns with our existing beliefs while disregarding opposing viewpoints. This selective perception can limit our understanding and cause us to miss opportunities for growth or connection with others. By observing our thought patterns, we can challenge these biases and expand our mental framework, leading to more balanced and informed perspectives. Mindful observation is a technique that encourages us to focus on the present moment without judgment. This practice allows us to step back and watch our thoughts as if they were clouds passing through the sky. Instead of engaging with every thought narrative, we can acknowledge their existence and let them pass without getting caught up in their content. This detachment helps reduce anxiety and enhances inner peace. Regular mindfulness exercises, such as meditation or deep breathing techniques, can cultivate this habit. To enhance our ability to observe our thought patterns, we can start by setting aside a few minutes each day for quiet reflection. During this time, we can focus on our breath, observing each inhale and exhale. When thoughts arise, we simply acknowledge them without judgment and return our focus to our breath. Over time, this practice helps us identify recurring thoughts, enabling us to challenge and alter those that serve us poorly. It's a gentle way of retraining our minds and fostering a healthier relationship with our thinking. Building a habit of mindful observation takes patience and practice. Journaling can complement this effort, providing clarity and insight into our thought processes. By writing down our thoughts, we create a tangible record we can revisit. This helps us track progress and identify patterns we may wish to change. Observing our thought patterns in this way cultivates not only self-awareness, but also the potential for deeper understanding and personal growth. Releasing attachments to stories. Our minds are constantly weaving stories about ourselves, others, and the world around us. These stories are not always the truth. Rather, they are interpretations shaped by past experiences, beliefs, fears, and desires. They often serve as a way to make sense of events or justify feelings, but they can also trap us in a cycle of judgment and emotional reactivity. Because these stories become so familiar, we begin to believe they define reality, which limits our perception and keeps us stuck in habitual patterns of thinking and feeling. When we pay attention, we notice that these narratives influence how we respond to situations. For example, if a person believes they are not good enough, that story colors how they approach their relationships, work, and even self-care. The mind's tendency to create explanations can lead to repetitive loops of self-criticism or blame, which intensify stress and anxiety. These stories shape our sense of identity, so letting go of them feels like losing a part of ourselves, making attachment to them strong and often unconscious. Recognizing that stories are mental constructs rather than absolute facts is a key step toward greater awareness. These narratives often mix facts with assumptions, interpretation, and emotion. This blending can obscure clarity and increase emotional charge. By becoming aware that the mind creates these stories, we allow space to question their accuracy and notice how they influence our mood and decisions. This understanding opens the possibility for greater freedom as we learn to see stories as temporary frameworks rather than fixed realities. Identifying attachments requires a curious and non-judgmental observation of your thoughts and feelings. Begin by noticing repetitive thoughts or stories that trigger strong emotional reactions. These could be beliefs about yourself, others, or situations that cause distress or keep you feeling stuck. When such a story arises, pause and examine it closely. Ask yourself if this narrative is based on facts or just assumptions. Reflect on whether holding this story helps you move forward or keeps you tied to old patterns. One practical approach is to create space between yourself and the story. Instead of immediately reacting, treat the thought as an observer, recognizing it simply as a mental event passing through your awareness. This distance weakens the automatic identification with the story and reduces its emotional grip. Mindfulness practices such as focused breathing or body scans can assist in grounding yourself in the present moment, making it easier to observe without judgment and respond with clarity instead of habit. Another useful method involves questioning the story from different perspectives. Imagine what someone you trust might say about the situation, or consider what you might think a year from now. This shift can reveal alternative views and helps loosen rigid attachments. Writing down your stories and emotions often provides clarity, making it easier to spot exaggerations or distortions. Gradually, by gently challenging and releasing these narratives, you cultivate a greater sense of inner freedom and resilience, allowing new, healthier stories to take their place. A practical tip to reinforce this process is to regularly check in with yourself about the stories you tell. Journaling, meditation, or even brief moments of silent reflection can be powerful tools. Notice how these stories shape your feelings and actions during the day, and remind yourself that you have a choice in which stories you give attention to. Over time, this awareness fosters a lighter, more flexible mental state, less burdened by old attachments. Creating space for consciousness. Creating space for consciousness begins with recognizing the importance of mental and emotional clarity. Our daily lives are filled with noise, thoughts, worries, distractions that can block our access to deeper awareness. When we clear out this mental clutter, we make room for a more genuine understanding of ourselves and the world around us. This process involves intentionally slowing down and reducing the chaos in our minds, allowing consciousness to unfurl naturally. By cultivating space, we stop reacting automatically and start observing more freely, opening a gap that invites insight and presence. One effective way to create this space is by developing mindfulness. Mindfulness involves paying close attention to what's happening in the present moment without judgment. This gentle observation helps us notice when thoughts or feelings are taking over, giving us the chance to step back. Over time, practicing mindfulness creates a habit of clearing mental clutter, making it easier for consciousness to emerge. Deep breathing exercises, for example, can serve as anchors, calming the nervous system and helping us stay grounded in the now. Just taking a few slow, deliberate breaths can create a moment of stillness in which awareness can deepen. Letting go of mental clutter also requires recognizing patterns that keep us distracted. These might include repetitive thoughts about past events, anxieties about the future, or habitual worries. Once identified, we can gently shift our focus away from these loops. Techniques like journaling can help externalize thoughts, making them easier to release. Physical activity can serve as a reset, clearing the mind as the body moves. Creating space means accepting that some thoughts will come, but not clinging to them. Instead, we acknowledge their presence and let them drift away like clouds passing in the sky, making room for deeper consciousness to surface. Releasing emotional baggage is equally important. Emotions such as anger, sadness, or frustration can congest our mental space, preventing clear awareness. Quiet reflection or talking with someone trustworthy can help process these feelings so they don't stay trapped inside. Practices like compassion and forgiveness also play roles here, softening the barriers that shield us from true awareness. When we free ourselves from emotional weight, our minds become less reactive and more receptive to insight. Emotional clarity feeds into mental space, creating a more open environment for consciousness to flourish. Practical techniques that support this process include setting aside regular time for quiet reflection or meditation. Dedicating even 5 minutes a day to stillness can gradually expand the space within. Simple acts like turning off devices, decluttering your environment, or spending time in nature also contribute to mental quietness. Learning to observe thoughts and feelings without over-identifying with them helps us maintain spaciousness. Over time, this cultivated openness allows us to experience states of awareness that aren't dominated by mental noise, revealing a clearer picture of our true nature. Creating space for consciousness is a continuous practice. It's not about eliminating all thoughts or feelings, but about cultivating enough room so awareness can unfold from within. Small, consistent steps, like pausing during busy days or setting intentions for mental clarity, build up this spaciousness gradually. Over time, this effort transforms how we relate to our inner world, making it easier to access states of presence and deeper understanding. Remember, the goal isn't perfection but progress, a gentle expansion of space that invites consciousness to flow more freely into everyday life. A practical tip for maintaining this space is to develop a cue or reminder in your daily routine. It could be as simple as taking a deep breath before starting a new task or pausing for a moment when you notice your mind racing. These small interruptions create intentional pockets of quiet where awareness can settle. Consistently practicing this habit helps convert moments of distraction into openings for deeper consciousness. Over time, these small acts accumulate, gradually widening the space in your mind and heart for awareness to settle effortlessly. Chapter 6: Developing Inner Stillness. Techniques for Inner Silence. Inner silence serves as a crucial foundation for expanding consciousness and transcending the limitations of the ego. This silence allows individuals to connect with their true selves beyond the chatter of thoughts and emotions that often dominate daily life. When the mind quiets, it opens a gateway to deeper awareness and clarity. In such moments, we often find our most authentic insights and creativity emerge from the stillness. The practice of cultivating inner silence can help us detach from the constant swirl of worries and distractions, offering a clearer perspective on our thoughts and feelings. Recognizing the importance of inner silence is the first step in this journey. It invites us to reflect on our internal dialogues and realize that not every thought we have needs to shape our reality. By embracing silence, we learn to observe our thoughts without judgment, creating a powerful distance between our identity and the swirling tempest of mental noise. This practice strengthens our ability to remain centered, fostering resilience against life's challenges. The awareness that arises from inner stillness can guide us toward more mindful decision-making, enhancing our relationships and overall well-being. There are several practical techniques to cultivate inner silence and deepen stillness in daily life. One of the most effective methods is meditation. Regular meditation practice allows the mind to settle, shifting attention from dialogue to observation. Even just a few minutes a day can have a significant impact on your internal landscape. Focus on your breath, observing each inhale and exhale, allowing thoughts to come and go without attachment. This practice develops a sense of calm and presence, making it easier to access inner silence when needed. Breath work is another excellent tool for finding inner stillness. Techniques like deep abdominal breathing or counting breaths can quickly ground you in the present moment. When you focus on your breath, your attention can shift away from distractions, encouraging a sense of peace. As you breathe deliberately, your body responds by releasing tension. This simple yet powerful practice can be used anytime you start to feel overwhelmed, helping you return to a state of inner calm. Mindfulness practices also play a key role in cultivating inner silence. Being mindful means being fully present in the moment and acknowledging your thoughts and feelings without judgment. You can incorporate mindfulness into everyday activities, such as eating, walking, or even washing dishes. Focus on the sensations, tastes, and sounds around you, immersing yourself fully in the experience. This practice not only quiets the mind, but also enhances your appreciation of life's simple moments. By integrating these techniques into your routine, you can create a fertile ground for inner silence that nourishes your personal growth and emotional resilience. Consider setting aside a few minutes daily, perhaps in the morning or before bed, to practice one or more of these techniques. Consistency is key in cultivating inner silence. Over time, you may notice that you can tap into this stillness more easily, enhancing your overall mindfulness and connection with yourself and the world around you. The role of meditation. Meditation offers a way to quiet the endless chatter of the mind and find a sense of calm amid daily challenges. When practiced regularly, it helps create a space within where thoughts slow down, allowing people to connect with a deeper sense of peace. This inner stillness is not about emptying the mind completely, but about learning to observe thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them. Through this process, individuals can gain clarity and a stronger sense of control over their mental state, reducing stress and increasing emotional balance. Inner stillness cultivated by meditation supports better decision-making and resilience. It encourages a calm awareness that helps in noticing subtle reactions before they turn into overwhelming emotions. In moments of crisis or stress, the ability to step back and remain centered can transform how a person responds to difficulties. This stillness also nurtures self-awareness, helping a person recognize patterns in thinking that may no longer serve them well. Greater self-awareness gained through meditation often leads to a more compassionate and patient attitude, both toward oneself and others. Starting a meditation practice can seem challenging, but it becomes easier when approached with simple, manageable steps. First, choose a regular time and place to meditate. Consistency helps signal the mind that it's time to shift into a state of calm. This could be early morning, during a lunch break, or before bedtime. Finding a quiet spot where distractions are minimized also makes a significant difference. Keeping the session short at first, even 5 to 10 minutes, can prevent overwhelm and make it easier to build the habit over time. Next, focus gently on the breath or another point of attention, such as the sensation of the body or a chosen word or phrase. When the mind wanders, as it naturally will, acknowledge the thought without judgment and return focus to the breath or chosen anchor. This simple redirection strengthens mental focus and develops patience. Some people find it helpful to use guided meditations or apps, especially when starting out, to provide structure until they feel comfortable meditating independently. Over time, the practice often deepens, naturally extending the length and quality of each session. Keeping track of your meditation experience can also help maintain motivation. Noticing subtle changes in mood, stress levels, or sleep quality provides encouragement to continue. By approaching meditation as a gentle habit rather than a strict chore, it becomes a sustainable part of life. With daily practice, the quiet moments of meditation can gradually influence how awareness is carried throughout the day, enhancing presence and emotional steadiness in all activities. Maintaining stillness amidst chaos. When the world around us feels chaotic and unpredictable, finding a way to stay centered can seem impossible. One effective approach is to turn your attention inward, focusing on your breath. Taking slow, deliberate breaths helps anchor you to the present moment, calming the mind even amidst turmoil. Simple breathing techniques, such as inhaling deeply through the nose for a count of 4, holding for a count of 4, and then exhaling slowly through the mouth for a count of 4, can make a notable difference in reducing stress. These moments of conscious breathing act like a reset button, allowing you to detach from the chaos outside and reconnect with your inner calm. Another helpful strategy is to create a mental space where you can observe the chaos without becoming involved in it. Visualize yourself as an observer, watching events unfold like clouds passing across the sky. This perspective makes it easier to detach emotionally and prevent overwhelm. Developing this mental distance brings clarity, helping you see things more objectively. You might imagine a peaceful place, such as a quiet forest or a calming shoreline, and bring your attention there whenever external circumstances become overwhelming. Filling your mind with serenity, even temporarily, provides resilience against turbulence. Practicing grounding exercises regularly also builds your ability to stay still during chaos. A common technique involves focusing on your physical senses, feeling the texture of an object, listening to sounds around you, or noticing smells. For instance, holding a small object like a smooth stone and paying close attention to its texture can bring your awareness into the present. These small sensory moments ground your mind, pulling it away from racing thoughts and external disturbances. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to access this calm state whenever chaos strikes. Establishing routines that reinforce your sense of stability can also be beneficial. Incorporating daily mindfulness or meditation sessions, even for just a few minutes, nurtures a habit of inner quiet. Over time, these routines act as anchors that help you remain steady regardless of external circumstances. Deepening your understanding of how different environments affect your mental state allows you to seek out or create spaces where you feel safe and grounded. Whether it's a quiet corner at home or a peaceful walk in nature, making space for these practices enhances your ability to maintain stillness when chaos surrounds you. Building resilience starts with accepting that chaos is part of life, and not everything is within your control. Instead of fighting the turbulence, focus on your responses. Mindfulness and self-awareness are key tools that help you recognize when you're beginning to feel overwhelmed. When you notice tension building in your body or your thoughts racing, take a moment to pause and breathe. This pause creates space between stimulus and response, giving you the chance to choose stability over reaction. Over time, these small decisions accumulate, strengthening your capacity to stay peaceful under pressure. Developing emotional resilience involves learning how to manage your feelings without suppressing them. Allow yourself to acknowledge feelings like frustration or anxiety without judgment. Processing these emotions through journaling, talking with a trusted friend, or simply acknowledging them internally can lessen their power. When emotions are acknowledged, they take up less space inside your mind, making it easier to find moments of stillness. The goal is not to eliminate feelings, but to prevent them from dictating your actions or disturbing your inner peace. Practicing gratitude can also act as a shield during challenging times. When you intentionally focus on what is going right, no matter how small, your perspective shifts from scarcity to abundance. This mental shift replenishes your energy and fosters optimism. For example, acknowledging a supportive friend, a moment of beauty in nature, or your own resilience helps reinforce a sense of stability within. Regularly cultivating gratitude creates a mental habit that supports a peaceful mindset, even in unpredictable circumstances. Finally, having a set of mental or physical tools ready for moments of crisis is essential. This might include quick grounding exercises, positive affirmations, or calming rituals like sipping a warm beverage or listening to soothing music. The key is consistency. When these tools are woven into your daily routine, they become accessible resources to draw on whenever chaos erupts. Over time, these practices do more than provide immediate relief. They deepen your ability to maintain a peaceful, still mindset even amidst ongoing turbulence. Chapter 7. Embracing Self-Realization. Awakening to your true nature. Many people live their lives guided by their ego, which is a collection of thoughts, beliefs, and identities formed through experiences and societal expectations. This egoic identity often defines us and influences our perceptions and reactions to the world around us. However, beyond this identity lies a deeper, unchanging essence that is connected to everything. Understanding our true nature requires looking beyond the ego and recognizing the transient thoughts and feelings that we often mistake for who we are. This true self is not limited by roles or labels, such as being a parent, a professional, or a friend. Instead, it exists in a peaceful space where you can experience life fully, free from the fears and insecurities that the ego creates. This essence is often described as pure consciousness or awareness, which allows us to observe our thoughts and feelings without becoming attached to them. When we identify with our true self, we cultivate a sense of inner peace and acceptance, enabling us to navigate life's challenges with resilience and clarity. Awakening to your true nature involves mindfulness and practices that ground you in the present moment. One practical step is to regularly engage in meditation. Even a few minutes each day can help clear your mind of the clutter created by the ego. As you sit in stillness, focus on your breath and allow thoughts to come and go without judgment. This practice helps create distance between your thoughts and your true self, revealing the quiet, expansive nature of awareness. Another effective method is to cultivate self-compassion. When you experience negative thoughts or feelings, instead of reacting with self-criticism, approach your emotions with kindness. Understand that these feelings are part of your human experience, but do not define your true being. By being gentle with yourself, you create an environment more conducive to awakening. Incorporating mindful moments throughout your day can also support your journey toward awakening. Simple acts like drinking a cup of tea, walking in nature, or even washing dishes can be opportunities for mindfulness. Focus on the sensations and experiences in those moments, letting go of distractions. Engaging fully in these small activities helps integrate a deeper sense of presence into your daily routine. When you begin to recognize your true nature, you'll notice a shift in how you interact with others. Practice active listening by being fully present during conversations. Allow the other person to express themselves without interjecting your own thoughts or judgments. This not only strengthens your connection with them, but also deepens your understanding of your true self in relation to others. Lastly, journaling can serve as a valuable tool for reflection. Write down your thoughts, feelings, and insights about your experiences. This practice helps you identify patterns in your thinking and recognize when the ego may be influencing your perspective. As you illuminate those patterns, you can consciously choose to align more with your true self and engage with the world from that place. By incorporating these practices into your life, you can awaken to your true nature and experience a richer, more fulfilling life. Remember that this is a journey, not a destination. Each step you take toward understanding your essence allows you to live more authentically and align your actions with what truly matters to you. Exploring these practical steps in daily life will gradually lead to a deeper connection with your authentic self. The journey of self-discovery. The journey of self-discovery begins with a simple but profound idea: understanding who you truly are beyond the surface of daily life. Many people go through life following routines and external expectations without pausing to consider their deeper thoughts, feelings, and values. This inward exploration allows you to connect with your authentic self, the part of you that exists regardless of outside influences. Self-discovery is not about finding some final answer or completing a checklist. Instead, it's an ongoing process of learning to recognize your inner strengths, challenges, and desires. At its core, self-discovery requires quieting the noise of the outside world and paying attention to your inner voice. This often means questioning your beliefs about what makes you happy, successful, or fulfilled. As you become more aware of your genuine feelings and motivations, you start to see patterns that might have been hidden beneath layers of habit or social pressure. Understanding these patterns helps you make choices that reflect who you really are, rather than what others expect you to be. It can feel uncomfortable at times, but this discomfort is a sign of growth and a step toward greater clarity and peace. Inner exploration also involves accepting the full range of your experiences and emotions. Instead of pushing away difficult feelings like fear, doubt, or sadness, recognizing them as important parts of your story allows for deeper healing and insight. This kind of honesty with yourself builds resilience and strengthens your sense of identity. By embracing both your strengths and vulnerabilities, you create a foundation for more meaningful connections with others and a life that feels true to yourself. Many traditions and philosophies have emphasized the value of self-knowledge. From ancient wisdom to modern psychology, there is a shared understanding that knowing yourself is key to living with intention and purpose. This principle remains relevant regardless of your background or life circumstances. The process of uncovering your true nature is unique to each person but universally beneficial. As you move through this journey, patience and kindness toward yourself become powerful tools, helping you navigate the layers of your inner world with compassion. Beginning the path towards self-awareness starts with creating space for reflection in your daily life. This can be as simple as setting aside a few minutes each day to sit quietly and observe your thoughts without judgment. Meditation is one of the most effective ways to cultivate this habit. You don't need any special equipment or a particular location, just a willingness to be present with yourself. Focusing on your breath, noticing sensations in your body, or silently observing the flow of your thoughts helps you develop the ability to witness your inner experience rather than getting caught up in it. Another practical step is journaling, which allows you to explore your feelings and patterns more deeply. Writing down your thoughts can bring clarity to complex emotions and reveal recurring themes that might otherwise go unnoticed. Reflecting on these entries over time helps you track changes in your perspective and understand what truly matters to you. Journals can also serve as a safe space to ask yourself questions like, what do I value most? Or what am I avoiding? These questions guide you closer to your authentic self by peeling back layers of distraction. In addition to quiet reflection, paying attention to your daily reactions provides valuable insights. Notice when you feel energized or drained, joyful or anxious. These reactions often point to aspects of your life that are either aligned or out of sync with your true nature. Making small adjustments based on these observations, such as spending more time on activities that nourish you or setting boundaries to protect your well-being, can gradually build a lifestyle that supports your self-awareness. Being gentle and realistic with yourself during this process keeps it sustainable rather than overwhelming. Different meditation techniques can suit different needs and preferences. Mindfulness meditation encourages staying fully present in the moment without trying to change anything. Loving-kindness meditation focuses on cultivating compassion for yourself and others, which strengthens your emotional resilience. Body scan meditation invites you to bring attention to sensations in your body, connecting mental and physical awareness. Experimenting with these variations can help you find what works best for deepening your understanding of yourself. Consistency matters more than duration. Even short daily practices create a cumulative effect that gradually sharpens your self-awareness. Over time, this inner work leads to clearer choices and a stronger sense of personal direction. Remember that self-discovery is not about achieving perfection or fixing yourself. It's about becoming more familiar and comfortable with who you are, learning how to respond to life's challenges with acceptance, and making space for your genuine voice to emerge. Try to notice moments when you feel disconnected or uncertain and use them as invitations to return to your inner awareness. These moments can be opportunities to pause, breathe, and gently bring your focus back to the present experience. Each time you do this, you strengthen your ability to know yourself more deeply and live with intention. Practicing kindness toward yourself during these times transforms challenges into valuable steps on your ongoing journey of self-discovery. Living authentically. Living authentically begins with recognizing that much of the way we think, feel, and behave has been influenced by external pressures and societal norms. From a young age, we are conditioned to meet certain expectations, becoming the perfect student, the ideal employee, or the perfect partner. Over time, these external influences shape our identities, often pushing us away from what truly resonates within ourselves. To live authentically, we need to step back and question whether our actions reflect our genuine desires or merely fit into what others expect of us. This process involves peeling away layers of conditioning to uncover the core of who we really are, beyond societal labels or roles we've adopted unconsciously. Understanding authentic living also means realizing that everyone's truth looks different. Some people find authenticity in their creative pursuits, others in their relationships, and some in their personal growth. It is essential to recognize that there is no single definition of what it means to live genuinely. Instead, it involves listening inwardly and discerning what aligns with our values, passions, and inner sense of peace. Living this way requires a conscious effort to detach from the need to conform, to embrace our uniqueness, and to accept ourselves fully, flaws and all. The conditioned mind often whispers doubts and fears that keep us playing small. Choosing authenticity means quieting those doubts and daring to show up as ourselves in every situation. When we live from a place of authenticity, we stop performing for approval or trying to meet impossible standards. It becomes easier to pursue what truly excites us, even if it means stepping outside of comfort zones. Authentic living isn't about perfection or always being right. It's about honesty with ourselves and others. It involves embracing vulnerabilities and acknowledging our feelings, strengths, and weaknesses without hiding behind masks or personas. Making space for this honesty allows us to build deeper relationships, foster trust, and find genuine happiness. The more we practice understanding ourselves, the more natural it becomes to act in ways that reflect our true nature, ultimately freeing us from the endless cycle of external validation. Practicing awareness of how societal pressure influences our choices can be transformative. Recognizing these influences provides the clarity needed to detach from them and to start living more freely. One useful approach is to observe your reactions to events or decisions without judgment. Ask yourself whether your actions stem from a genuine desire or from a learned expectation. Over time, this mindful awareness helps create a clearer picture of your authentic self, making it easier to align your daily actions and decisions with your true values. Living authentically isn't about perfection, but about showing up honestly with what is true in each moment. It requires ongoing reflection and honesty about your feelings and motivations. Small steps like speaking your truth in conversations or choosing activities that genuinely excite you will gradually strengthen your ability to live a life that feels real and satisfying. Remember, real authenticity comes from honesty, not from trying to conform or impress. As you become more aware of your true self, embracing this truth becomes a natural and freeing part of daily life, helping you build a life rooted in genuine self-expression and inner harmony. The key is to tune into your inner voice and honor what it tells you. Practicing mindful awareness helps you notice when you're acting out of habit or external influence, providing an opportunity to choose differently. Honest self-expression becomes much easier when you accept yourself fully and trust that your unique path is valid. The more you practice aligning your actions with your internal truth, the more effortless it becomes to live authentically in every aspect of life. This process is ongoing, not a fixed destination, but every step taken in the direction of honesty and self-acceptance brings you closer to a life that truly reflects who you are. Chapter 8. Cultivating Compassion and Connection. Practicing empathy. Empathy is more than just feeling sorry for someone. It's the ability to genuinely understand and share the feelings of another. This deep understanding fosters genuine connections between people, allowing us to see beyond our own experiences and perspectives. When we practice empathy, we step outside of our egos and open ourselves up to the emotional world of others. This connection can be profound, helping to create bonds built on trust and understanding. Recognizing that everyone has their struggles encourages compassion rather than judgment, paving the way for healthier relationships. To practice empathy effectively, one must cultivate an awareness of both verbal and nonverbal cues. Listening actively is essential. It's not just about hearing words, but understanding intentions and emotions behind them. By paying attention to body language, tone of voice, and facial expressions, we can gain insights into what someone is truly feeling. This might involve pausing during conversations to reflect what has been said, thereby verifying our understanding. Instead of reacting immediately from our own perspective, we can take a moment to consider how the other person feels. One of the best techniques for enhancing empathy is practicing active listening. This means giving your full attention to the speaker, resisting the impulse to formulate your response while they speak. Instead, focus on understanding their viewpoint fully. After they finish, you might paraphrase what they said to confirm your understanding. This simple technique can help clarify misunderstandings and demonstrates that you value their feelings. Questions can be a powerful tool in this process. Asking open-ended questions allows the other person to express their thoughts and emotions more deeply, showing that you are engaged and interested. Another effective practice is mindfulness. By becoming more aware of our own emotions and responses, we can create a clearer mental space to understand others. Mindfulness encourages us to be present in our interactions and reduces the likelihood of emotional reactivity. When emotions run high, Taking a few deep breaths can help steady our reactions and allow us to engage more thoughtfully. You might also find journaling helpful. Writing down your feelings and experiences can clarify your thoughts and facilitate a richer understanding of others' feelings. Empathy can also be practiced through small, intentional acts. Simple gestures can have a significant impact, such as sending a supportive message to a friend going through a hard time or offering help when you notice someone struggling. These acts create a ripple effect, promoting a culture of empathy within your community. Sharing experiences can reinforce connections. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we encourage others to share as well. This mutual sharing helps solidify relationships and creates a safe environment for open conversations. Remember, practicing empathy is not a one-time effort. It requires consistent and committed engagement. Developing empathy can significantly enhance your interpersonal skills, leading to improved relationships both personally and professionally. The effort you put into understanding others will go a long way, making you a more compassionate and effective communicator. A simple yet powerful tip to practice empathy is to always ask yourself, how would I feel in their situation? This guiding question can ground your interactions in understanding and kindness, steering you away from reactions rooted in self-interest. Give it a try the next time you find yourself in a conversation that feels charged or emotionally complex. Connecting beyond ego boundaries. Our sense of self is shaped largely by the ego, which acts as a boundary between who we believe we are and the rest of the world. This boundary can sometimes create a barrier that keeps us trapped in patterns of self-interest, defensiveness, or separation from others. While the ego helps us navigate social situations and protects our personal identity, it can also limit our ability to connect deeply with others. When interactions are filtered through ego boundaries, relationships often become transactional or superficial, focused more on maintaining a certain image or protecting individual needs rather than seeking genuine understanding. These ego boundaries often rely on labels, roles, and judgments that reinforce a sense of separateness. They encourage us to categorize people as us versus them and defend our point of view as the only correct one. This creates a cycle where true empathy and openness get lost. Without recognizing these limitations, connections can feel constrained, leaving both parties feeling isolated even in close proximity. Stepping beyond the ego means being willing to move past personal insecurities and preconceived ideas to meet others in a space of honesty and vulnerability. Forming connections beyond the ego introduces the possibility of experiencing relationship in its most authentic form. Instead of interactions driven by pride or fear, they become grounded in presence and shared humanity. It allows for a relationship where uniqueness is honored without the need to control or change the other. In this way, ego is not erased, but becomes a tool that serves connection rather than a barrier that blocks it. Recognizing this distinction opens the door to more meaningful interactions that transcend the usual limits imposed by the ego. Moving beyond ego boundaries begins with awareness, simply noticing when the ego is active during interactions. This might show up as defensiveness, the impulse to be right, or a need to impress. Once this awareness is present, the next step is to shift focus away from self-protection toward curiosity about the other person's experience. Practicing active listening without planning a response or judgment allows for a deeper understanding that is not clouded by self-centered thinking. Another useful approach is to embrace vulnerability, which often feels risky but is essential for authentic connection. Sharing feelings and admitting imperfections invites others to do the same, creating a safe emotional space that moves past surface-level communication. Vulnerability softens ego barriers and encourages mutual empathy, helping both parties experience connection that is based on honesty rather than performance. Developing compassion plays a central role in transcending ego boundaries. This compassion includes acknowledging the other person's struggles and inner world without immediately trying to fix or change them. When compassion takes the lead, it transforms how we relate because it replaces judgment with acceptance. Compassion can be cultivated through simple daily practices, such as reminding oneself that everyone faces unseen challenges, making it easier to respond with patience and kindness in interactions. Another practical mindset shift is to view connection as a shared journey rather than a goal to be achieved. Letting go of expectations about how others should behave or what should come out of the relationship opens the possibility for more organic exchanges. This reduces pressure and creates an environment where true self-expression and listening can flourish. Taking time to be fully present, whether in a conversation or a moment of silence together, helps nurture these ego-transcendent connections as well. Ultimately, connecting beyond ego boundaries is a skill that grows each time we practice openness, vulnerability, and presence. It might feel uncomfortable at first because it challenges deeply held ways of defending ourselves. Yet the rewards include richer relationships, increased emotional resilience, and a sense of belonging that goes beyond surface identities. The key lies in small, consistent efforts to recognize ego's role and intentionally choose connection grounded in empathy above self-interest. One practical tip to start fostering these connections is to pause briefly before responding in conversations to check in with your motivation. Ask yourself if your words come from a place of understanding or from a need to protect your viewpoint. This simple moment of reflection can shift the tone of dialogue and make space for genuine exchange to emerge. The power of compassion. Compassion has the ability to bridge gaps between people, creating a sense of closeness even in difficult situations. When someone feels understood and cared for, it naturally encourages trust and openness. This emotional link can be powerful enough to heal wounds, soften conflict, and build relationships that last. Rather than simply responding with sympathy or pity, true compassion involves active understanding and a willingness to connect on a genuine level. In daily life, showing compassion often leads to moments of authentic connection that strengthen bonds and improve overall well-being. When compassion is shared sincerely, it creates a ripple effect that influences others to act kindly as well. For example, a kind word or a gentle gesture during a tough time can lift someone's spirits and encourage them to pass that kindness along. This kindness spreads to communities, workplaces, and families, making environments supportive and resilient. Recognizing the power of compassion means understanding that it is not just about feeling sorry for others, but about actively engaging with their needs and experiences. It helps remove barriers built by misunderstanding, prejudice, and indifference, paving the way for real connection and mutual understanding. Compassion also transforms how individuals perceive their own struggles. When they see others facing hardships with kindness, it can inspire self-compassion and patience. It emphasizes that nobody is alone in their challenges and that through empathy, people can find strength together. This sense of shared humanity nurtures a more open and accepting attitude toward differences, whether they are cultural, personal, or emotional. Cultivating compassion in everyday interactions can lead to a more harmonious society where respect and kindness are the norms rather than exceptions. Ultimately, compassion becomes a catalyst for a more connected and humane world. Chapter 9. Overcoming Fear and Resistance. Understanding fear in the context of ego. Fear is essentially a survival mechanism that has been wired into our psyche throughout evolution. It arises from the ego, which works to protect us from perceived threats. This instinctual response can manifest in various forms, often presenting as resistance to change and personal growth. For instance, Someone may hesitate to pursue a new job opportunity due to fear of failure or rejection. This fear can become a barrier, keeping individuals confined to their comfort zones, even when better opportunities lie just beyond. The ego often clouds our perception, making us believe that the potential risks outweigh the benefits of taking action. As a result, we might find ourselves avoiding certain situations or undermining our capabilities. This forms a cycle of avoidance where fear feeds into the ego, and the ego in return strengthens our fear. Such patterns can be observed in many areas of life, including relationships, work, and personal development. Recognizing these manifestations of fear is the first step toward addressing them. To transcend our fears, it's essential to develop an awareness of their origins within the ego. This often involves exploring deep-seated beliefs and automatic responses that shape our interactions with the world. For some, this means recognizing that their fear of public speaking is not merely about the act itself, but stems from a deeper need for approval and acceptance. Understanding the roots of these fears helps us to disentangle them from our core identity. Practical approaches to overcoming these fears can include mindfulness practices, which encourage us to reconnect with our consciousness beyond the confines of the mind and ego. Techniques such as meditation, journaling, or even simple breathing exercises can promote a sense of calm and help us observe our fears without judgment. When we can observe fear as just a thought or feeling rather than an intrinsic part of who we are, we create space for growth and change. Another effective strategy is to confront fears directly in a supportive environment. Engaging in small challenges related to these fears can gradually weaken their hold. For instance, participating in group discussions or public speaking workshops provides an opportunity to face the discomfort that comes with these challenges. Over time, this willingness to confront fear can lead to greater confidence and a more expansive sense of self. Understanding that fear can be a passing emotion rather than a permanent fixture in our lives empowers us to take practical steps toward embracing change. Techniques to release resistance. Resistance is something everyone experiences, even if it doesn't always look the same. It often shows up as hesitation, doubt, or discomfort when we are faced with change or something unfamiliar. This pushback can happen in the mind, body, or emotions, and it usually tries to protect us from perceived danger, whether real or imagined. Recognizing resistance means noticing where you feel tension or a pause in your progress, whether that's procrastinating on a task or feeling anxious about a decision. The patterns of resistance often follow a predictable rhythm. It might start as small thoughts of "I can't" or "this isn't right for me," then grow into deeper feelings like frustration or fear. Sometimes, resistance shows up physically through tightness, headaches, or fatigue. Paying attention to these signals can help identify resistance before it completely blocks your ability to move forward. The key is not to fight resistance or push it away, but to become aware of it and understand what it might be trying to tell you. Everyone experiences resistance differently, so it helps to reflect on your own habits. Do you notice resistance more in your mind or body? Does it come up during specific situations, such as during work, relationships, or personal growth? By recognizing these patterns early, you allow yourself a chance to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting automatically. This awareness creates space for change and growth without being overwhelmed by the feeling of resistance. Mindful awareness is a useful first step when dealing with resistance. This practice involves observing your thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations without judgment. Instead of labeling resistance as bad or trying to force it away, you simply notice it, like watching clouds float by. This gentle attention helps reduce the grip resistance has on you because it softens the fight or flight reaction. A simple way to start is to pause wherever you are. Take a few moments to tune into how your body feels and acknowledge any discomfort or hesitation quietly within yourself. Breathwork adds an effective layer to releasing resistance by calming the nervous system. When resistance appears, the breath often becomes shallow or irregular. Conscious breathing techniques help lengthen each inhale and exhale, signaling your body that it can relax. For example, try breathing slowly through your nose for a count of 4, holding for 4, and then exhaling for 6 counts. This rhythm encourages your mind and body to soften resistance, making space for new energy and clarity. Breathwork can be used anywhere, anytime resistance arises, making it a reliable tool for immediate relief. Gentle surrender is not about giving up or losing control. It's about trusting the process and letting go of the struggle against what is resisting. This approach recognizes that sometimes resistance signifies a deeper message or need that requires compassion rather than force. Surrender encourages you to pause, breathe, and soften the grip on the desire to control outcomes. Letting go opens up the possibility to discover new perspectives or creative solutions that weren't visible before resistance took hold. This practice often feels like loosening a tight knot, which allows energy to flow more freely and naturally toward growth. Combining these techniques, mindful awareness, breath work, and gentle surrender, creates a practical toolkit for working through resistance. Sometimes, simply noticing resistance and breathing through it can dissolve its intensity. Other times, surrendering to the moment invites unexpected insight or shifts that lead to progress. These methods focus on accepting what is present without judgment, which changes the relationship to resistance itself. Over time, this can transform resistance from a barrier into a guide, showing where more attention or care is needed. Building courage to live consciously. Fear and resistance often originate from deep-seated beliefs about ourselves and the world around us. These feelings can stem from past experiences, childhood programming, or societal expectations that teach us to avoid certain truths or suppress our genuine selves. When we hold on to these fears, they act like barriers, stopping us from exploring who we really are or making authentic choices. Resistance is often a protective response, designed to keep us safely within familiar boundaries, even if those boundaries are limiting or unfulfilling. Recognizing these roots is essential because it sheds light on why living consciously feels uncomfortable or even impossible at times. Fear keeps us from taking risks that might lead to growth, and resistance can make change seem unsettling because it challenges the comfort zone we've built around ourselves. These internal barriers distort our perception, making it seem dangerous to face our vulnerabilities. As a result, we may settle for a life that feels safe but lacks fulfillment, or we may avoid making decisions that can lead to personal development. The first step toward living more consciously is to understand that these fears are often a reaction to perceived threats rather than real dangers. In many cases, they are false alarms created by the mind trying to protect us from potential pain or failure. Additionally, resistance can manifest as procrastination, self-doubt, or avoidance behaviors. These habits keep us from fully engaging with life and prevent us from living in alignment with our true values. Over time, these internal struggles can create a sense of exhaustion or disconnection from ourselves. The challenge lies in learning to observe these fears and resistances without judgment. When we do, we gain the space to question their validity and begin to loosen their hold on us. One effective way to develop courage is to start small. Each day, identify a simple situation where you can practice acting in a way that feels genuine, even if it feels uncomfortable. For instance, speaking your truth in a minor conversation or expressing an opinion you normally suppress. These small acts build confidence over time, showing you that facing discomfort doesn't lead to catastrophe, but can lead to growth. Celebrating these little successes helps to reinforce the belief that you can handle more challenging moments in the future. Another strategy is to cultivate self-awareness through mindfulness or meditation. When you pay close attention to your thoughts and feelings, you begin to notice patterns of fear and resistance as they arise. Instead of reacting automatically, you learn to observe these reactions as if from a distance. This awareness creates space to choose a different response, perhaps a moment of deep breath or a calming affirmation that helps you engage with reality more consciously. Over time, this practice weakens the power of fear and resistance, making it easier to act with authenticity. Practicing self-compassion also plays a vital role. Recognize that fear and resistance are natural responses to stepping outside your comfort zone. Instead of judging yourself for feeling afraid or resistant, treat these feelings with kindness and understanding. Remind yourself that growth involves making mistakes and facing discomfort. Accepting your vulnerability as part of the process reduces the control these feelings have over you and makes it more manageable to proceed with courage. Setting clear intentions can serve as a guiding light. When you consciously decide to live from a place of authenticity, you create a mental anchor that encourages courage, especially during difficult moments. For example, you might tell yourself, "Today, I will speak my truth," or "I will listen to my inner voice before making a decision." These prompts reinforce your commitment and help you move past internal resistance. Over time, committing to these intentions creates a new pattern of behavior rooted in authenticity and self-trust. Finally, surround yourself with supportive influences. Whether through supportive friends, mentors, or communities that value honesty and personal growth, positive reinforcement can make a significant difference. Having people who encourage your efforts and validate your feelings helps you feel less alone in your journey. Their presence reminds you that courage is contagious and that taking small, brave steps accumulates into larger shifts toward living fully conscious of yourself and your choices. A practical tip for building courage is to keep a journal of your experiences with fear and resistance. Record moments when you felt afraid but acted anyway, or times when resistance tried to stop you. Reflecting on these instances can reveal your patterns and highlight your moments of bravery. Over time, seeing how you've navigated discomfort reinforces your belief in your ability to handle whatever arises, making future challenges appear less daunting. Chapter 10: Practical Daily Practices. Mindfulness Exercises. Mindfulness exercises offer practical tools for becoming more aware of the present moment. These exercises encourage a focused attention on what is happening now, enhancing emotional regulation, reducing stress, and increasing overall well-being. Practicing mindfulness helps individuals notice their thoughts and feelings without judgment, enabling a shift in perspective that fosters a sense of calm and clarity. This awareness can significantly impact daily life, from how one responds to challenging situations to how one interacts with others. Incorporating mindfulness exercises into your routine doesn't require extensive time or preparation. Simple practices can be done anywhere and at any time, making them accessible to everyone. Whether it's during a quiet moment at home, a break at work, or even while walking down the street, these exercises can seamlessly blend into daily activities. The key is to create a mindset of curiosity and openness, allowing each moment to be experienced fully without distraction. One effective mindfulness exercise is focused breathing. To practice this, find a comfortable seat, close your eyes, and take a deep breath in through your nose, feeling your abdomen rise. Hold this breath for a moment, then slowly exhale through your mouth. Repeat this process for a few minutes, focusing solely on your breath. When thoughts arise, acknowledge them without judgment and gently bring your attention back to the rhythm of your breathing. Over time, this can help cultivate a sense of peace and presence. Another helpful practice is mindful observation. Choose an object in your environment, such as a plant or a coffee cup, Spend a few minutes observing its details, the colors, shapes, and textures. Engage all your senses. Notice how it looks, what it feels like, the sounds it makes if moved, and even its scent. This exercise encourages you to become more aware of the world around you and helps sharpen your observational skills. For those looking to incorporate movement into their practice, try mindful walking. This can be done indoors or outdoors. As you walk, pay attention to each step and the sensations in your feet as they make contact with the ground. Notice your body's movements and how the environment feels. If your mind wanders, simply bring it back to the experience of walking. This practice integrates mindfulness with physical activity, promoting both mental clarity and physical awareness. Lastly, you can engage in a daily gratitude practice that encourages mindfulness. Each evening, take a few minutes to reflect on 3 things you were grateful for that day. Write them down or simply think about them, allowing yourself to feel the corresponding emotions of appreciation. This exercise trains the mind to focus on positive aspects of life, fostering a greater sense of contentment and joy. Try integrating one of these practices into your day-to-day life. By committing to even a few minutes each day, you can cultivate a habit of mindfulness that nurtures your well-being. Consistency is key, and over time, these exercises can enhance your ability to remain present and engaged in all your experiences. Journaling and reflection. Journaling and reflection offer powerful ways to connect with yourself and your experiences. When you write down your thoughts, feelings, and observations, you create a space for clarity and understanding. This process encourages you to slow down and pay attention to what is happening inside your mind and heart. Over time, regular journaling can help reveal patterns in your thoughts or behaviors that you may not have noticed otherwise. This awareness forms the foundation for making more conscious choices in daily life. Reflection turns your attention inward, allowing you to evaluate experiences without judgment and extract lessons from them. It helps separate automatic reactions from thoughtful responses, leading to greater emotional balance. People who engage in journaling and reflection often find themselves better equipped to handle stress, make decisions, and set meaningful goals. These practices create a habit of mindfulness, cultivating a sense of presence that carries beyond the moments spent writing. In addition to emotional benefits, journaling supports mental clarity by organizing scattered thoughts into coherent narratives. This mental exercise can improve problem-solving skills and creativity, as ideas flow more freely onto the page. By making your inner world visible, you gain a stronger understanding of what drives you, what triggers discomfort, and what brings satisfaction. As a result, journaling and reflection act as mirrors that reveal your true self, fostering growth and conscious living in all areas. Starting a daily journaling practice does not require extra time or complicated steps. Even a few minutes each day can make a difference. One approach is to set aside a consistent time, such as morning or evening, when your mind is relatively quiet. Begin by noting simple facts about your day or thoughts that stand out. Over time, you can add more depth by asking specific questions to guide your writing and reflection. This structure helps build self-awareness by directing attention toward your feelings, reactions, and goals. One helpful prompt is to describe 3 things you are grateful for each day. This encourages positive focus and shifts perspective away from negativity. Another technique is to reflect on challenges faced and how you responded. Writing about what you learned or what you might do differently next time deepens insight. You might also explore your desires and fears by answering questions like, "What do I want more of in my life?" Or, "What scares me and why?" These inquiries invite honest examination of motivations and doubts. In addition, free writing without filters can uncover unexpected thoughts or feelings. Allowing yourself to write whatever comes to mind without judgment can lead to surprising discoveries. Combining this with occasional review of previous entries reveals growth and recurring themes worth addressing. Journaling apps or a simple notebook can serve as accessible tools, depending on your preference. The key is consistency rather than perfection. The more frequently you engage, the clearer your self-understanding becomes. Consider ending each journaling session with a brief reflection on what you appreciate about yourself that day. This small habit reinforces self-compassion and acceptance, making it easier to face challenges with kindness. Over time, journaling and reflection shape a clearer picture of who you are and what matters most, helping you live more intentionally and authentically moving forward. Integrating consciousness into routine. Creating routines that remind us to stay present helps anchor our awareness in daily life. Starting the day with a simple breathing exercise, such as taking 5 deep breaths before getting out of bed, can set a tone of mindfulness. Throughout the day, set intentional moments to pause, like before turning on your computer or after completing a task. These small pauses allow you to reconnect with your breath and bring your attention back to the present. Over time, these small practices become automatic anchors that support sustained consciousness, making awareness a natural part of your everyday flow. Building mindful routines doesn't require major changes. Instead, it involves inserting brief, intentional pauses into existing habits. For example, when you prepare a cup of coffee or tea, take a moment to fully notice the sensations, the warmth of the mug, the smell of the brew, the taste. When walking into your home or office, pause briefly to observe your surroundings or the feeling of your feet touching the ground. These simple acts help weave consciousness into routine actions. The key is consistency. The more regularly you practice these small pauses, the more they become second nature, forming a steady foundation for mindful awareness throughout your day. One effective way to anchor consciousness is to create a daily cue or trigger that reminds you to check in with yourself. It could be a specific time, like mid-morning or after lunch, or an activity, like watering plants or folding laundry. When the cue arises, take a brief moment to close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and observe what's happening inside and outside. These moments don't need to be long, just enough to reset your attention and reinforce your intention to stay conscious. Over weeks, these practices reinforce a habit of mindfulness, making awareness flow more naturally through your routines. To incorporate awareness practices smoothly into your daily life, start with simple, achievable steps. For instance, during routine activities like brushing your teeth or washing dishes, focus fully on the sensations involved, the feeling of the brush against your teeth or the water running over your hands. This transforms mundane chores into moments of mindfulness. Another strategy involves pairing new awareness practices with existing habits. If you already set an alarm or check your phone at certain times, use those moments to briefly pause, breathe, and observe your thoughts or feelings. Making these small adjustments helps create a natural flow rather than adding an extra task to your day. Practicing mindful awareness during leisure activities can also be effective. For example, when eating a meal, slow down and savor each bite, noticing textures and flavors instead of rushing through. During conversations, instead of thinking ahead or drifting away, bring focus to the person's words and your reactions. These intentional moments of presence turn routine interactions into opportunities to strengthen your consciousness. Remember, the goal isn't to be perfect, but to cultivate a continuous thread of awareness woven effortlessly into daily life. Over time, this consistent practice helps shift the subconscious habit of multitasking or distraction into a habit of attentive engagement. A helpful tip is to use visual or physical reminders, such as sticky notes or bracelets, to prompt awareness moments. A simple reminder like "Be present," written on a note by your computer or a bracelet you wear can serve as a gentle cue. When the reminder appears, pause momentarily, take a deep breath, and redirect your focus to what you're experiencing right now. This simple intervention over time can reprogram your automatic responses, helping consciousness become the default mode during your daily activities. Small, consistent actions build the foundation for a more aware and fulfilled life without overwhelming your routine. Chapter 11. Navigating Challenges on the Path. Dealing with ego triggers. Ego triggers are the situations or interactions that provoke a strong emotional response tied to our self-image. They often emerge when we feel criticized, ignored, or challenged. It is essential to recognize that these triggers can cloud our judgment, leading us to react impulsively instead of thoughtfully. In a moment of triggering, we might feel anger, defensiveness, or an overwhelming need to prove ourselves. These reactions can not only strain our relationships, but also divert us from our personal growth. Understanding this nature helps us see that our ego's response often stems from deeper insecurities and fears. The more we can identify the sources of our ego triggers, the better we can manage their impact on our lives. Recognizing ego triggers requires self-awareness. Pay attention to moments when you feel unusually defensive or upset. Journaling your reactions can be a helpful practice. When you identify a trigger, write down the incident and your feelings at that moment. Over time, patterns will emerge, revealing what specifically rattles your ego. Once you identify these patterns, you can begin to manage your responses. When a trigger arises, pause before reacting. Take a breath and ask yourself why this situation bothers you. This pause can create space for a more rational response. Transforming ego triggers involves reframing how you view these emotional responses. Instead of seeing them as personal shortcomings, recognize them as opportunities for growth. For example, if you feel anger when a colleague criticizes your work, try to view that feedback as a helpful perspective rather than an attack on your worth. This shift in thinking can reduce the power of the trigger and help you respond more calmly and constructively. Cultivating empathy towards yourself and others is also crucial. Remember that everyone has their own triggers and insecurities. As you practice these strategies, patience is vital. Change does not happen overnight, and managing ego reactions becomes easier with time and experience. Engaging in mindfulness or meditation can further aid this process by encouraging a non-reactive state of mind. Regular practice helps build resilience against the ego's instinctive reactions. Keeping an open heart and mind allows you to navigate conflicts and challenges with grace. When you find yourself facing a trigger in the moment, remind yourself that this is part of the journey, an aspect of being human. Each experience offers a chance to learn more about yourself, so embrace the lessons they present. A useful tip is to seek supportive conversations with trusted friends or mentors. Discussing your triggers and experiences helps you gain perspective and can lead to valuable insights. Support systems can remind you that you are not alone in dealing with ego challenges. They can also provide feedback and encouragement as you work on your personal development. The more effort you put into understanding and managing your ego triggers, the more equipped you will be to handle life's inevitable challenges with a sense of peace and clarity. Maintaining awareness during stress. Stress triggers a cascade of physical and mental responses designed to help us deal with immediate threats. When faced with pressure, the brain activates what is often called the fight or flight response. This floods the body with adrenaline and cortisol, preparing muscles to act quickly and heightening senses. While this can be useful in short bursts, prolonged or intense stress can overwhelm normal thinking patterns, making it hard to stay aware of the present moment. Instead of clear thinking, the mind may fog over, shifting into autopilot or narrowing focus so much that other important details are ignored. The impact of stress on awareness is more than just feeling distracted. It affects how the brain processes information, often shutting down areas responsible for rational thought and long-term planning. This change in brain activity means reactions can become more instinctual, sometimes pushing the body to react faster but less thoughtfully. During these moments, maintaining full consciousness, the sense of being fully present and aware, becomes a challenge. People might experience tunnel vision, emotional flooding, or heightened anxiety that makes them feel disconnected from their surroundings or from themselves. Consciousness under stress is not simply about knowing what's happening around you. It also involves the ability to recognize internal changes such as increased heart rate, shallow breathing, or sudden emotions like fear or frustration. These internal signals often go unnoticed, yet they can either help to steady the mind or push it further into chaos. Recognizing how stress distorts awareness provides a foundation for learning how to hold on to clarity in difficult situations. Understanding this relationship is a first step toward managing not just the external stressors, but also the inner responses they provoke. Keeping awareness during stressful moments starts with simple acts that ground attention in the here and now. One effective approach is focusing on the breath. When stress rises, taking slow, deliberate breaths can calm the nervous system and open a window for clearer thinking. This technique helps slow down the mind's automatic frantic loops and brings attention back to the body. Even just a few deep breaths can create space to observe emotions and thoughts without being swept away by them. An attentive mind can also benefit from naming what is happening internally. Quietly identifying feelings such as tension, irritation, or nervousness allows for a pause in the habitual reaction cycle. This practice, sometimes referred to as labeling, creates distance between the thinker and the stress, turning an overwhelming sensation into something more manageable and less frightening. By observing stress with gentle curiosity rather than resistance, the mind becomes more flexible and less reactive. Another way to maintain centeredness is to engage the senses fully in the present moment. Bringing awareness to what you can see, hear, touch, or smell helps break the hold tension has on the mind. This sensory focus shifts thinking from abstract worries and what-if scenarios to concrete experiences. For example, feeling the texture of a chair or noticing the sounds in the room can redirect attention from the flood of stressful thoughts toward actual experience. This simple shift can lower the intensity of anxiety and enhance mental clarity. Building routines that invite regular moments of mindfulness also strengthens the ability to stay aware under pressure. Practices such as meditation or mindful walking train the brain to observe without judgment, even when discomfort arises. Over time, these exercises increase resilience, making it easier to find balance during chaos. When stress inevitably hits, the mind trained by these practices can recognize its signs earlier and respond more skillfully, holding a steady sense of presence instead of being pulled into reactivity. Lastly, practical techniques include creating short mental pauses throughout the day. These pauses act as mini checkpoints where you consciously check in with your body, emotions, and thoughts. They don't require much time, but serve as moments to reset and ensure that stress doesn't build unnoticed. Engaging in these short breaks regularly helps prevent runaway anxiety and supports clearer, calmer responses when challenges arise. One practical tip for maintaining awareness during stress is to combine breathing with a simple phrase or sound, such as silently saying calm during an exhale. This reinforces the calming effect and refocuses the mind on a steady anchor. Using a consistent signal like this can make it easier to regain centeredness quickly even when stress feels overwhelming. When to seek support. Embarking on a spiritual journey can bring a profound sense of fulfillment and direction. However, there are times when the challenges or complexities of your path become harder to manage on your own. Recognizing when you might need outside assistance is crucial. Signs such as persistent feelings of confusion, overwhelming doubts, or emotional setbacks that do not improve over time are strong indicators. If you find yourself unable to process certain experiences, or if your motivation begins to fade, it might be time to seek additional support. Sometimes, feelings of loneliness or isolation grow, even when you are surrounded by community, signaling that external guidance could help you regain clarity. Other signs include recurring negative thoughts that interfere with your daily life or spiritual practices, such as constant self-criticism or a sense of being stuck. Physical symptoms like fatigue, anxiety, or sleep disturbances may also be linked to deeper emotional or spiritual struggles. If your attempts at self-healing or personal reflection do not lead to progress, or if you feel a burden that refuses to lift, this indicates a need for external help. Remember, recognizing these signs is not a sign of weakness, but a step toward ensuring your well-being and continued growth on your spiritual path. It's also important to pay attention if your relationships with others begin to suffer significantly. Strained connections or increased conflict might stem from internal struggles that need external perspectives. When your inner life feels too heavy to carry alone, reaching out can provide fresh insights and emotional relief. The key is honesty with yourself, acknowledging that a bit of outside support can make a big difference in maintaining your spiritual progress and mental health. Deciding whether to seek support often depends on how these signs affect your daily functioning and sense of peace. A good rule of thumb is to consider outside help if you notice ongoing emotional distress that does not improve with personal effort. Seeking guidance from a mental health professional or a trusted spiritual advisor can provide tools and insights to navigate difficult feelings or questions. If you notice your mood worsening, or if you experience intrusive negative thoughts, these are signs that specialized help may be needed. It's also helpful to think about how support fits into your overall well-being. Support doesn't always mean therapy or counseling. It can also mean joining community groups, attending spiritual retreats, or seeking mentorship from someone experienced in your spiritual tradition. When choosing support, look for trusted and qualified individuals who respect your beliefs and values. Be open about your needs rather than hesitant, and realize that reaching out is a sign of strength and commitment to your growth. Regular check-ins with a counselor or community leader can help you stay grounded and avoid setbacks that can arise from isolation or confusion. Finally, consider that sometimes progress in your spiritual path requires a mix of self-reflection and guidance from others. Keep a journal to track how you're feeling over time and note any recurring patterns or concerns. If you notice that your inner struggles persist despite your best efforts, it might be time to consult a professional or trusted community figure. Remember, seeking support is a proactive way to nurture your inner life and ensure your path remains meaningful and balanced. Keep in mind that building a supportive network around yourself can be one of the most empowering steps you take on your spiritual journey. Chapter 12. The Role of Spirituality. Spiritual Practices for Growth. Spiritual practices can serve as essential tools for personal growth and self-discovery. They help an individual connect with a deeper sense of self and foster a relationship with a higher consciousness. This connection often leads to greater awareness of one's thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Many traditional practices, such as meditation, yoga, and mindfulness, offer pathways to align with inner wisdom. By embracing these practices, people can cultivate a sense of peace and clarity, allowing for more thoughtful responses to life's challenges. The journey through spiritual growth often involves exploring various methods to find what resonates personally and effectively enhances one's spiritual path. Integrating spiritual practices into daily life doesn't require extensive time commitments or drastic lifestyle changes. One effective method is to start each day with a few moments of quiet reflection. This could be as simple as sitting in silence for 5 minutes, focusing on breath, or expressing gratitude for the day ahead. Such moments can set a positive tone for the rest of the day. Journaling is another practice that can reveal insights about personal development. Writing down thoughts, feelings, and experiences can lead to deeper self-understanding. Mindfulness can also be practiced throughout the day, even during mundane tasks. Being fully present while doing chores, eating, or walking helps cultivate awareness. With practice, it becomes easier to notice emotions and thoughts without judgment. Additionally, engaging in nature can be a powerful spiritual practice. Spending time outdoors not only connects individuals to the earth, but can also inspire feelings of awe and gratitude. Regular physical activity, such as yoga or Tai Chi, can also combine physical movement with spiritual awareness. These practices promote balance and help release stored tension while fostering a meditative state. The key is to find a practice that feels natural and fulfilling. Testing new activities, whether they are creative outlets like painting or musical expression, can also contribute to spiritual growth through self-exploration. Lastly, community involvement can further enrich one's spiritual development. Participating in groups that share similar spiritual interests allows for support and shared experiences. Whether through local gatherings, online forums, or special events focused on spiritual teachings, these connections can deepen understanding and foster growth. The journey of spiritual practice is ongoing, filled with opportunities to learn, connect, and grow. Keep trying new methods and adjustments in daily routines, and pay attention to what feels right personally. Consider establishing a personal ritual that resonates with you, whether it's lighting a candle, saying affirmations, or spending time in nature. This can serve as a daily reminder of your commitment to your spiritual growth. Finding your path. Finding your path often means more than just choosing a career or setting goals. It involves connecting with something deeper within yourself. Spirituality can serve as a guiding compass, helping to uncover what truly matters beyond external achievements or societal expectations. When you engage with your spiritual side, you begin to recognize your authentic desires, values, and strengths. This clarity can illuminate the direction that feels right for you personally, rather than following a path dictated by others or circumstances. Spirituality is not tied to any specific religion or belief system, but is about connecting to your inner sense of meaning and purpose. It encourages self-reflection and presence, which can reveal insights about what fulfills you and where you should direct your energy. This connection also builds resilience during periods of uncertainty or doubt, offering a sense of grounding. By tuning into your spiritual awareness, you can create a foundation for your journey that is stable and true to who you are at your core. Many people find that spiritual awareness introduces a quiet confidence and patience that make it easier to navigate life's twists and turns. It offers a reminder to trust yourself and the process instead of rushing toward external markers of success. This trust nurtures a deeper kind of motivation that is consistent and fulfilling, allowing your path to unfold with intention rather than pressure. Ultimately, spirituality invites you to see your life as a whole, interconnected experience where every step has meaning, even if it isn't always clear right away. If you want to use spirituality to find your path, start by paying attention to what feels meaningful and natural to you. This might look different for each person. Some may find quiet meditation helpful to silence distractions and access inner wisdom. Others might connect through journaling, where writing about thoughts and feelings uncovers hidden desires or blocks. The key is experimenting with different practices until you discover what supports your awareness and sense of peace. Incorporating simple, consistent habits daily can deepen your connection over time. Something as small as a few minutes of mindful breathing every morning can calm your mind and create space to listen inwardly. Spending time outdoors, focusing on nature's patterns and rhythms, also invites a spiritual presence that feels restoring. Another way to integrate these insights is by asking yourself thoughtful questions during moments of reflection. Questions like, what brings me joy? Or what values are guiding my decisions right now? These queries help keep your purpose clear and your choices aligned with it. Building a personal spiritual practice doesn't need to be complicated or rigid. It should feel flexible and adaptable to your life's changing circumstances. When faced with tough choices, turning to your spiritual practices can provide guidance and help you distinguish between fear-driven decisions and those arising from authentic intuition. Gradually, as you create space for this inner work, you'll notice your path becoming clearer and more aligned with who you truly are. Remember, the goal isn't to find a perfect answer, but to stay open and present with whatever your path reveals. Aligning with higher consciousness. Higher consciousness refers to a state of awareness that goes beyond everyday thoughts, emotions, and perceptions. It's a way of sensing life that connects us to something larger than ourselves, an intuitive understanding that there is more to existence than our immediate experiences. Many spiritual traditions describe this state as a realm of pure awareness, truth, or divine insight. As we progress spiritually, becoming more aware of this higher state allows us to see situations with clarity and compassion that are often hidden in ordinary consciousness. This expanded awareness plays a significant role in spiritual growth because it encourages us to look beyond superficial concerns. Instead of being caught up in fears, judgments, or desires, we start to see the deeper patterns and interconnectedness of everything around us. Connecting with higher consciousness can help us find purpose, serenity, and understanding, even amid life's challenges. It acts as a guiding light, helping us make choices aligned with our truest selves and the well-being of others. Many people sense that this higher state is not something external to achieve, but a part of ourselves waiting to be recognized. Tapping into it requires quieting the mind, opening the heart, and fostering a sense of curiosity about life beyond the physical or mental layers. When we cultivate this awareness, our perspective naturally broadens, and we begin to experience a profound sense of peace that does not depend on external circumstances. Understanding that higher consciousness is accessible to everyone removes the idea that it is reserved only for spiritual leaders or mystics. In essence, recognizing the importance of higher consciousness shifts how we see our journey. It becomes less about conquering external obstacles and more about deepening our inner connection. This state offers clarity, compassion, and insight that can transform how we relate to ourselves and others. It's akin to tuning into a universal frequency that's always present, waiting for us to notice and connect with it in our daily lives. Connecting with higher consciousness can be cultivated through simple, consistent practices, beginning with mindful breathing or focused meditation. Even just a few minutes a day can help quiet the mental chatter that blocks our intuitive awareness. As the mind becomes calmer, we create space to tune into that higher part of ourselves. Many find that guided meditations focused on visualization or pulling awareness inward make this process easier and more accessible. Practicing mindfulness in daily activities can also foster this connection. Pay attention to your senses, what you see, hear, feel, and smell, without judgment. Slowing down and truly experiencing the present moment helps anchor us in a space of heightened awareness. Keeping a journal to record moments of insight or feelings of connection can help reinforce this practice and reveal patterns of higher awareness over time. Engaging in activities that inspire awe, such as spending time in nature, listening to music, or practicing creative expression, can open channels to higher states. These moments often evoke feelings of unity and deep appreciation, which are signs of alignment with higher consciousness. It's also helpful to set an intention before any spiritual or daily activity, asking for guidance or openness to higher insights. This intention acts as a reminder that your consciousness is always accessible and waiting to be engaged. Maintaining a loving and compassionate attitude toward yourself and others further enhances this alignment. When we let go of judgments and practice acceptance, we remove blocks that keep us separate from higher awareness. Regularly reminding ourselves of our interconnectedness helps us stay open to higher insights throughout the day. Over time, these simple practices become not just routines but integral parts of a way of living, focused on awareness, presence, and genuine connection. A useful tip to deepen your connection is to dedicate a few moments each day to silent reflection. During this time, focus on your breath, and as thoughts drift by, gently bring your attention back to the present. This habit trains your mind to become more receptive to subtle insights and aligns your awareness with the higher currents of consciousness that are always available to you. Chapter 13. Living a Conscious Life. Creating intentional choices. Making intentional choices is fundamental for living authentically. When we deliberately decide what we want and how we wish to live, we align our actions with our true values and beliefs. This alignment fosters a sense of fulfillment and purpose in our daily lives. Without this conscious effort, it's easy to drift through life, responding to external pressures or making choices based on habit rather than intention. Understanding our motivations plays a crucial role in this process. It helps us craft a life that genuinely reflects who we are rather than who we think we should be. Being intentional about our choices requires self-reflection. It means taking the time to consider the reasons behind our decisions. By asking ourselves questions like, "What do I want to achieve?" or "What truly makes me happy?" we can uncover the deeper motivations driving our actions. This self-awareness empowers us to make choices that resonate with our genuine desires, leading to a more authentic life. When each choice is made with intention, our daily experiences become richer and more meaningful, shaping a life that we can be proud of. Cultivating awareness is the first step toward making more deliberate choices. One effective method is to practice mindfulness. This can be done through techniques like meditation or simply taking a few moments each day to reflect quietly. These practices help to center your thoughts and draw your focus inward. By observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment, you gain clarity on what you truly value and need. This clarity is essential for recognizing when you are about to make a choice that may not align with your authentic self. Another practical step is to create a decision-making framework. Outlining your core values can serve as a guide. Write down what matters most to you, be it family, career, health, or personal growth. When faced with a choice, evaluate how it aligns with your established values. If a decision does not reflect your values, it might be worth reconsidering or reevaluating the goals associated with it. This approach helps eliminate choices driven solely by societal expectations or fleeting emotions. Finally, embracing the concept of less is more can significantly enhance the process of making intentional choices. In a world overflowing with options, narrowing down your focus can relieve the pressure of decision-making. Limit the choices you have in specific areas of your life. For instance, you might decide to shop with a limited clothing color palette that reflects your personal style. This reduces the burden of choice and encourages you to cultivate a wardrobe that represents who you are. Adopting such strategies can refine your choice-making processes, ultimately leading to a more intentional and authentic lifestyle. As you practice these methods, it's essential to remain patient and flexible with yourself. Developing intentionality takes time and effort, but the rewards of living authentically are well worth it. Each small step contributes to a greater understanding of yourself and helps foster a life designed by your own choices. Start with one small decision today and notice the difference it makes in how you feel. Trust that with each intentional choice, you are crafting the life you desire. Building conscious relationships. Conscious relationships begin with a clear understanding of oneself. When individuals bring self-awareness into their connections with others, they create a space where authenticity and respect can flourish. This foundation rests on recognizing personal values, emotional triggers, and patterns in behavior that influence interactions. Without this insight, relationships often repeat cycles of misunderstanding and conflict, which can block genuine connection. Self-awareness means more than just knowing your preferences. It requires paying attention to how your emotions and decisions affect both yourself and those around you. People who practice this kind of awareness are able to notice when they react defensively or withdraw emotionally, and then choose new ways to respond. This awareness nurtures empathy, allowing you to see beyond your own perspective and consider the feelings and needs of your partner or friend. Building this foundation can take patience and reflection. It can be helpful to pause during moments of tension and ask yourself what underlying fear or desire is guiding your reaction. Over time, this kind of introspection can reveal deeper layers of your personality, showing you what kinds of support you need and how you can offer it genuinely to others. When both people in a relationship develop this level of self-knowledge, the connection grows stronger and more resilient. Communication is the core practice that translates self-awareness into meaningful interaction. Mindful communication means speaking with intention and listening with full attention. It encourages you to express your thoughts and feelings clearly without blame or assumptions, while also remaining open to hearing the other person. This balance reduces misunderstandings and creates a safe environment where vulnerability is welcomed rather than avoided. Healthy boundaries are a natural extension of self-awareness and mindful communication. They define what you are comfortable with emotionally, physically, and mentally, and help prevent resentment from building up. Setting boundaries can be as simple as saying no when something feels wrong or asking for space when needed. When communicated kindly and respectfully, boundaries allow each person to feel secure, respected, and valued in the relationship. Authentic connection grows when these principles come together. It involves seeing the other person not as an extension of your own needs, but as a whole individual with their own experiences and feelings. This requires ongoing effort to be genuine, to acknowledge mistakes, and to offer forgiveness. When you prioritize honesty and mutual growth, even difficult conversations can lead to greater understanding and deeper closeness. Encouraging growth and harmony in relationships means recognizing that change is natural and sometimes challenging. By embracing mindful habits, maintaining clear boundaries, and staying true to each other's truth, relationships can become a source of support and inspiration rather than strain. Both parties learn to appreciate each other's differences and work together towards shared goals, which strengthens the bond over time. A practical step to foster conscious relationships is to schedule regular check-ins where feelings and needs can be shared openly. This practice helps prevent small issues from growing unnoticed and reinforces the commitment to keep the connection healthy and evolving, contributing to a greater good. When we choose to focus on what benefits others as well as ourselves, we tap into a deeper sense of purpose that transcends personal gain. Living with awareness means acting consciously, recognizing the interconnectedness of all people and understanding that our actions ripple outward. This shift involves moving away from an ego-driven mindset, seeking validation, dominance, or control, and embracing compassion and genuine concern for others. Such a perspective encourages us to prioritize collective well-being, fostering efforts rooted in service rather than self-interest, making our actions more authentic and sustainable. Contributing to the greater good isn't solely about grand gestures. Small, mindful acts can have profound impacts when practiced regularly. Simple choices like kindness, offering a listening ear, or volunteering time reflect a mindset that values connection over separation and compassion over judgment. These actions remind us that living from our higher self involves humility, patience, and an awareness that each person plays a vital role in shaping a better world. When we operate from this wise space, we feel fulfilled and aligned with our true selves. Engagement in the greater good also means acknowledging our responsibility toward future generations. By making conscious decisions that promote sustainability, justice, and equity, we contribute to a legacy of caring and accountability. This mindset prompts us to consider how our daily actions, such as how we consume, speak, and bring energy into relationships, impact the broader community. Living consciously involves asking ourselves whether these actions foster connection and growth or create division and harm. Acting from awareness transforms our role from just personal interests to genuine contributions toward societal well-being. One practical step is becoming more mindful of how daily choices affect others. This might include selecting ethically sourced products, supporting local businesses, or truly listening without rushing to respond. Small, intentional acts serve as reminders that actions matter. Building habits of kindness and patience not only promotes personal growth, but also creates a ripple effect that benefits those around us. Regularly reflecting on our intentions helps us stay aligned with our higher purpose, making service an integral part of everyday life. Volunteering time or skills is another meaningful way to serve the community. Whether supporting local shelters, tutoring students, or participating in neighborhood cleanup efforts, direct involvement fosters genuine connections. Such activities open our eyes to the needs of others and deepen our understanding of what it means to contribute beyond ourselves. Engaging with community projects can also inspire collective kindness and cooperation. Acts of giving, without expecting anything in return, enrich our sense of purpose and remind us of our shared humanity. Fostering compassion internally is essential for impactful contribution. Practices like meditation, gratitude exercises, or developing empathy through reading stories of others' struggles help nurture this quality. When we cultivate compassion inwardly, it naturally extends outward into our relationships and community involvement. Supporting causes aligned with our values, participating in local events, or mentoring others are tangible ways to channel help effectively. Over time, these actions foster a life centered on service rather than ego-driven pursuits. Remember, even small gestures rooted in sincerity can create significant, lasting impact. To deepen your contribution, consider setting daily intentions that align your actions with your higher purpose. Beginning each day with a moment of reflection on how you can serve others through words and deeds reinforces your commitment. Keeping a journal of acts of kindness or moments of connection can also strengthen this awareness, helping you stay conscious of your role in the greater good. Sometimes, simply being present and attentive in interactions makes a meaningful difference. Consistent, mindful efforts gradually shape a life that reflects your values and positively influences the world around you. Chapter 14. Sustaining your transformation. Maintaining practice over time. Establishing consistent routines is crucial for maintaining practice over time. When daily habits become part of your routine, they require less effort to uphold. Start by identifying the specific practices that have benefited you the most and choose a set time each day or week to engage in them. For example, if meditation helped you find clarity, schedule a brief session each morning. Similarly, if journaling provided insight, set aside time in the evening to reflect on your day. Eventually, these actions will feel like second nature, reducing the likelihood of skipping them. Incorporating mindfulness into your daily life enhances your ability to stay present and connected to your practice. Mindfulness can be woven into everyday activities, making them more enriching and focused. Try to bring awareness to mundane tasks like walking, eating, or cleaning. Pay attention to each sensation and thought during these moments. This practice builds a foundation of awareness that supports your transformative gains. When you experience mindfulness in simple tasks, it reinforces the importance of your practice, allowing you to carry that mindset into more structured sessions. Resilience is about bouncing back from challenges, while adaptability involves adjusting to changes. Both skills are essential for maintaining your practice amidst life's unpredictable circumstances. Life will always have ups and downs. It's part of the journey. When setbacks occur, such as a busy schedule or unexpected obligations, it's important not to view them as failures. Instead, see them as opportunities to practice flexibility. For instance, if you usually meditate for 30 minutes but find that you only have 10, don't skip it entirely. Instead, meditate for those 10 minutes and appreciate that you still engaged with your practice. Building resilience can also involve learning from those challenges. Ask yourself what worked and what didn't during difficult times. This reflection can guide you in the future, helping you create contingency plans. Perhaps you learned that morning practices work best when your schedule is hectic or that evening sessions are more realistic on busier days. Developing resilience means not only enduring challenges, but thriving amidst them by adjusting your approach and goals as needed. Over time, this adaptability will enable you to maintain your practice through even the most chaotic phases of life. Dedicating time to reflect after each week can be a simple yet effective strategy. Evaluate what went well and where you encountered obstacles. Set small, achievable goals for the coming week. This practice keeps you aligned with your intentions and strengthens your resolve to maintain your habits even when life is challenging. Handling setbacks. Setbacks are an inevitable part of any journey toward personal growth and transformation. They can take many forms: missed opportunities, unexpected failures, or even moments of self-doubt. These obstacles often stir up a complex mix of emotions, including frustration, disappointment, and sometimes even shame. Experiencing setbacks can feel like a step backward, making it hard to maintain motivation and confidence. This emotional turbulence can cloud your perspective and make it difficult to recognize that setbacks are simply part of the process rather than an end point. When faced with disappointment, it is common for the mind to spiral into negative self-talk. You might find yourself questioning your abilities or the validity of your goals. This internal struggle can cause a loss of momentum and a reluctance to push forward. Understanding that these feelings are natural responses rather than personal failures is the first step toward managing setbacks more effectively. Accepting the emotional impact without judgment creates space to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Setbacks also test patience. The progress achieved so far may seem insignificant compared to the new challenge, causing discouragement. It's important to recognize that personal transformation rarely follows a straight path. Instead, it often involves detours and pauses. Every setback offers a chance to reflect on your growth so far and recalibrate your approach. The emotional discomfort you experience is part of the learning curve, helping you gain resilience and deepen your understanding of your goals. One of the most effective ways to handle setbacks is to shift perspective. View challenges not as roadblocks, but as signals pointing to areas that need adjustment or deeper attention. Instead of pushing against resistance, pause and ask what this experience can teach you. This mindset turns discomfort into curiosity and opens the door to meaningful growth. Practicing self-compassion is essential here. Treat yourself with the same kindness you would offer a friend facing difficulties, which helps reduce harsh inner criticism and fosters resilience. Maintaining a mindful foundation during setbacks involves staying grounded in the present moment. Mindfulness encourages awareness of your thoughts and emotions without getting swept away by them. When you notice feelings of frustration or fear rising, simply acknowledge them without judgment. This practice creates a mental space that allows you to respond with clarity instead of reacting impulsively. Mindfulness can also help you reconnect with the reasons behind your transformational journey, reinforcing purpose and direction even when things feel uncertain. Practical steps include setting small, achievable goals that build momentum after a setback. Breaking down challenges into manageable parts prevents overwhelm and encourages steady progress. Reflecting on past successes, no matter how minor, can also boost motivation by reminding you of your capabilities. Additionally, seeking support from others, whether through conversation, coaching, or community, can provide fresh perspectives and emotional encouragement. Remember that setbacks are temporary and often contain hidden opportunities to improve strategies and deepen commitment to your transformation. When dealing with setbacks, it's helpful to create a routine that nurtures both your mind and body. Regular practices such as brief meditation, journaling your thoughts and feelings, or even simple breathing exercises can center your attention and calm stress responses. Combining these habits with a realistic reassessment of your goals allows you to move forward with renewed energy and clearer insight. Ultimately, setbacks are not failures but lessons embedded in your growth process, offering valuable feedback on how to proceed effectively. Celebrating progress. Taking a moment to recognize the progress you've made can significantly boost your confidence and deepen your connection to your personal growth. It's easy to focus on the distance you still need to go, but pausing to reflect on what you've achieved helps balance that view. Celebrating small victories, like sticking to a new habit or overcoming a challenge, reminds you that change is happening. These moments serve as proof that your efforts are paying off, making the journey feel more tangible and less abstract. When you acknowledge your milestones, you reinforce a positive mindset that keeps you motivated to continue moving forward. One way to make this acknowledgement more meaningful is to keep a simple journal or log of your achievements. This might include noting when you called a difficult person, completed a project, or simply stuck to your daily routine even when it felt hard. Over time, this record becomes a personal testament to your ongoing efforts. Sharing your progress with friends or family can also strengthen your sense of accomplishment, giving others a chance to celebrate with you. Recognizing progress isn't about perfection. It's about honoring every step, no matter how small, as a part of your larger transformation. Reflecting on how far you've come helps you stay grounded in reality. It reminds you that growth isn't always linear and that setbacks are just part of the process. Seeing your own progress can transform doubts into confidence and hesitation into action. As you celebrate milestones, you're naturally reinforcing your belief that positive change is possible, fueling your commitment to continue. Remember, growth is a series of small victories, and acknowledging them fuels your ongoing journey without diminishing their significance. Creating simple rituals to mark your progress can strengthen your connection to your growth process. This might involve lighting a candle, taking a few moments in silence, or thanking yourself for your effort. Rituals help to bring mindfulness into your routine and turn abstract goals into tangible moments of recognition. They serve as signals to your brain that what you're doing matters, encouraging a sense of continuity and purpose. Developing these habits can make celebrating progress feel natural and embedded in your daily life. Reflective practices like journaling or meditation are powerful tools for honoring your journey. During these sessions, you can revisit your achievements and acknowledge how they've shaped your ongoing development. Ask yourself what lessons you've learned and how your perspective has shifted. This helps reinforce your commitment and reinforces positive habits. Over time, these practices become a source of encouragement, reminding you of your resilience and the progress you've continually made, even when it seems small at the moment. Another effective approach is to set aside dedicated moments, such as end-of-week reviews or monthly reflections, where you evaluate your growth. These scheduled pauses allow you to recognize patterns of success and pinpoint areas where you've improved. When you actively celebrate your progress through these rituals, you foster a sense of achievement that can propel you forward. Remember, honoring progress isn't just about looking back. It's about fueling your desire to keep evolving and embracing the journey ahead. A simple tip is to write a gratitude list focused on your efforts and breakthroughs, which can serve as a quick, uplifting reminder of your growth whenever you need it. Conclusion: Beyond the ego, a new way of living. Summarizing key insights. The distinction between ego and consciousness forms the cornerstone of understanding our true selves. The ego often serves as a mask, filtering our reality through personal biases and societal expectations. It is driven by survival instincts, desires, and fears, often limiting our authentic expression. Consciousness, on the other hand, represents a broader awareness detached from these limitations. By elevating our awareness, we can observe the patterns of our ego without becoming entangled in them. This shift allows for a clearer perspective, enabling us to break free from the constraints that the ego imposes. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in this process. Being present and attentive to our thoughts, feelings, and surroundings opens the door to deeper insights about ourselves and the world around us. Practicing mindfulness helps in recognizing when the ego is at play. For example, when reacting defensively in a conversation, one can pause and reflect, asking whether the reaction stems from genuine feelings or ego-driven perceptions. This observation fosters a sense of detachment and helps in not identifying with those reactions. By cultivating awareness, we can acknowledge our emotions and thoughts without judgment, allowing space for genuine feelings to surface. It fosters a sense of peace as we realize that we are not merely our thoughts or emotions. The awareness gained through mindfulness can transform our interactions, enabling us to connect more authentically with others. Integrating conscious living into daily routines creates a deeper connection between ourselves and the world. Simple practices can facilitate this shift. One effective approach is to incorporate moments of stillness throughout the day. This can be as easy as taking a few deep breaths in a quiet space or stepping outside to experience nature. These moments of pause allow for reflection and help anchor the mind in the present, cultivating a sense of clarity amidst life's chaos. Mindful activities such as eating or walking can deepen the conscious experience. During meals, focusing on the taste, texture, and aroma of food encourages appreciation and enhances the connection to the body. Walking mindfully can transform a simple task into a rich experience, bringing attention to the sensation of each step and the environment around us. These practices foster a sense of authenticity and presence, leading to more enriching interactions and a clearer mind. Journaling is another beneficial practice. Writing thoughts down fosters clarity and can bring awareness to patterns influenced by the ego. Reflecting on daily experiences and responding to specific prompts can help identify recurring themes and questions that arise from the ego. This reflection can reveal how patterns affect relationships and decision-making. Over time, maintaining a journal can enhance mindfulness and nurture consciousness, creating a clearer path toward authentic living. Ultimately, developing conscious living practices requires patience and consistency. Each small step adds to a deeper understanding of self and connection to others. By continuously engaging in mindfulness and awareness, individuals can foster a meaningful presence that transcends the limitations of ego. Remember, embracing small changes today can lead to significant transformation tomorrow. Embracing the continuous journey. Personal growth is not a destination to be reached, but a path we continuously walk. Understanding this helps us stay humble because it reminds us that no matter how much we learn or achieve, there is always more to discover about ourselves. This ongoing process encourages us to remain open to feedback, willing to admit mistakes, and ready to adapt our perspectives as new experiences shape us. When we accept that growth is never fully complete, it reduces the pressure to be perfect and allows us to engage with our imperfections with kindness rather than judgment. This mindset lays the groundwork for a deeper connection to ourselves, as self-awareness becomes a daily practice rather than a goal checked off. Commitment to self-awareness means paying attention to our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors in a way that is honest and gentle. It involves asking ourselves difficult questions about why we react the way we do and being patient with the answers that unfold over time. When we recognize growth as ongoing, we also give ourselves permission to pause and reflect without feeling that we are falling behind or failing. This attitude opens the door to true learning because it shifts focus from external achievements to inner understanding. The continuous journey of self-awareness helps us develop humility, acknowledging that life teaches us in varied ways and that every stage holds potential for new insights. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in advancing our personal growth by keeping us rooted in the present moment. When we practice mindfulness, we become observers of our own minds, noticing thoughts and feelings without becoming entangled in them. This awareness helps us step beyond automatic reactions that often come from the ego, the part of ourselves focused on defense, control, and identity. By recognizing these patterns, we rewrite the way we relate to ourselves and others, making room for more conscious choices rather than impulsive responses. Openness complements mindfulness by encouraging us to welcome new ideas, experiences, and perspectives, even when they challenge our existing beliefs or sense of self. Together, these attitudes break down the boundaries the ego creates and invite ongoing transformation. Staying open in the face of uncertainty allows growth to flourish naturally. When we resist change or cling tightly to who we think we should be, progress slows or stalls altogether. But when we approach life with curiosity and a willingness to explore our inner world, we become like water, flexible and able to navigate obstacles with ease. This fluidity does not mean losing our identity, but rather expanding it to include the lessons clear awareness provides. Through mindfulness and openness, we build resilience against setbacks and develop a deeper self-acceptance. Over time, this path leads to an evolution that moves past the ego's narrow limits and fosters a fuller sense of connection, purpose, and peace. As you continue on this journey, try setting aside a few minutes each day for simple mindfulness practices like focused breathing or observing your thoughts without judgment. Pairing that with a genuine openness to what each moment brings can gradually transform your experience of growth from a challenge into a source of continuous renewal. Final encouragement. Letting go of the need to constantly prove yourself or seek validation from others is a continuous process. It's not about reaching a final state, but about becoming more aware of when your ego takes control. Each day presents new opportunities to observe your thoughts and reactions, recognizing patterns that stem from ego-driven desires. As you practice this awareness, you'll start to see your true self, free from the masks and defenses built by years of conditioning. Remember, this journey isn't about perfection, but about gentle progress day by day, learning to accept yourself fully and live with honesty and openness. Living more authentically means aligning your actions with your inner values rather than external expectations. Some people find it helpful to reflect on their core beliefs regularly, questioning whether their choices come from true self-understanding. Over time, this awareness fosters a peaceful mindset, reducing inner conflict and stress caused by trying to satisfy others or fit into external standards. As you become more grounded in your authentic self, the ego's hold weakens, allowing genuine connections with others and a deeper sense of contentment to grow. Recognize that each moment offers a chance to choose authenticity over approval, making your life a reflection of your true nature. Incorporating mindfulness into your everyday routine doesn't have to be complicated. Taking a few moments each day to pause, breathe deeply, and observe your thoughts and feelings can make a significant difference. Notice when your mind drifts into worries about the future or regrets from the past, gently bringing your focus back to the present moment. This practice helps set the habit of awareness, gradually revealing more of your true self beneath the noise of constant thinking and external influences. Consistency is key. Even short, daily moments of mindfulness reinforce your inner connection and foster a sense of peace. As you develop this awareness, you'll begin to see patterns and triggers that pull you away from your authentic self. Recognizing these moments allows you to respond differently, choosing calmness instead of reactivity. Perhaps it's a simple act of taking a deep breath before reacting to stressful situations or pausing to consider your response rather than acting instinctively. Over time, mindfulness becomes a natural part of how you navigate life, helping you stay grounded amid chaos. Keep in mind that this isn't about perfection, but about cultivating a kinder, more present way of living that constantly guides you back to your core truth. A practical tip is to set aside a few minutes each day for silent reflection, gradually increasing this time as it becomes a natural part of your routine. Appendix: Guided Exercises and Meditations. Step-by-step practices. Begin your practice with a grounding meditation designed to connect you to your underlying consciousness beyond the ego. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably, either in a chair with your feet flat on the ground or cross-legged on the floor. Close your eyes gently and take a few deep breaths. With each inhale, feel your body drawing in air and energy. With each exhale, release any tension or distraction. Pay attention to the sensations in your body, the rhythm of your breath, and the sounds in your environment. Allow thoughts to come and go without clinging to them. This practice creates a foundation, helping to calm the mind and level your awareness. Over time, you'll gradually become more attuned to your thoughts and feelings, thus helping to dissipate the influence of the ego. Next, engage in a step-by-step practice of mindful awareness to observe and transcend ego-driven thoughts. Start by focusing on your breath. Notice the air filling your lungs and the feeling of that air exiting your body. This simple attention helps anchor you to the present moment. As thoughts arise, whether about your to-do list, concerns, or emotions, acknowledge them without judgment. Label them as thoughts or feelings and allow them to pass through you like clouds in the sky. Do not identify with these thoughts. Instead, observe them from a distance. If you find yourself caught up in a narrative, gently bring your awareness back to your breath. As you build this practice, challenge yourself to extend these observations to other parts of your day. When you encounter difficulties or triggers, pause and breathe before responding. This helps to create a gap between stimulus and reaction, allowing you to choose responses rooted in mindfulness rather than automatic reactions driven by your ego. Remember to practice both kindness and patience with yourself throughout this journey. Each time you notice your ego or critical thoughts surfacing, celebrate your awareness. It's an important step toward greater self-understanding. By consistently practicing mindful awareness, you can develop a deeper connection to your true self, free from ego's limitations. Audio-guided meditations. Audio-guided meditations serve as a powerful tool for quieting the mind and moving past the noise created by the ego. When we talk about awakening consciousness beyond the ego, we refer to shifting awareness from identifying solely with our individual selves toward a wider sense of presence and connection. This kind of meditation invites you to experience life more deeply, without the filters of judgment, fear, or distraction that the ego often imposes. By following a guided voice, listeners can gently move into a state where mental chatter slows down, creating space for greater clarity and insight. The strength of audio-guided meditations lies in their accessibility and ease of use. Unlike silent meditation, which may feel daunting to beginners, guided sessions offer a steady companion who leads your attention step by step. This support can be especially useful when learning to observe thoughts without attachment or when trying to cultivate mindfulness amid a busy day. Listening to calming guidance helps reinforce habits of awareness, making it easier to reconnect with your inner stillness whenever you need it. Beyond encouraging relaxation, audio-guided meditations can nurture a sense of expanded presence that transcends the ego's boundaries. They encourage the exploration of inner landscapes without resistance, inviting you to notice feelings or sensations that usually go unnoticed. This process can unfold new viewpoints, helping to loosen the grip of self-centered thinking patterns. Over time, practicing with these meditations can deepen your understanding of who you are apart from ego identities and offer glimpses of a more spacious and peaceful state of being. Many audio-guided meditations come in the form of downloadable scripts or recordings that are easy to use on your phone, computer, or another device. These meditations often start with simple breathing exercises to anchor your attention and gradually move into more subtle forms of awareness, such as body scanning or mindful listening. By having these guided sessions available anytime, you can create consistent moments throughout your day to pause and connect with the present. Guided scripts might lead you through grounding techniques, asking you to feel your connection to the earth or the support beneath your body. Other meditations gently encourage you to notice sensations without labeling or trying to change them, fostering a non-reactive form of presence. Many also include reflective prompts or imagery that invite a deeper sense of openness and calm. For example, some scripts ask you to picture a wide open sky or a quiet forest, helping the mind to relax while expanding your awareness beyond everyday thoughts. Each meditation is designed to create space where the ego's usual dominance fades, making room for a clear and receptive state of mind. Using these guided meditations regularly takes patience and kindness toward yourself. It's common for the mind to wander or for emotions to arise during the practice. The key is to treat these experiences as part of the process rather than obstacles. Over time, repeated engagement with guided audio helps train your attention and deepens your capacity to live more fully awake and present. To get the most out of an audio-guided meditation, it is helpful to find a quiet place where distractions are minimal. Even just 10 minutes can make a difference. Consider incorporating these sessions into your daily routine, whether in the morning to set the tone for the day or in the evening to unwind and center. The steady rhythm of guided breathing and gentle instruction creates a familiar framework that invites the mind to settle naturally into awareness beyond ego-driven thinking. Try experimenting with different voices and styles until you find the one that feels most supportive to you. Some people prefer soft, slow guidance with long pauses, while others appreciate a slightly more upbeat or instructional pace. The goal is to use these audio meditations as a bridge, leading you into moments where presence is clear and the patterns of ego belief relax. This ongoing practice is a way to cultivate a grounded inner peace that remains accessible even in life's more challenging moments. Reflection questions. Reflecting on the differences between the ego and pure consciousness can be eye-opening. Ask yourself whether your thoughts are driven by a need to control or judge, which is often how the ego behaves. Consider moments when you feel a sense of peace or clarity. Are those times when you're less caught up in reactive thinking? Ask, when have I felt most myself, free from worries about how others see me or how I should behave? Recognizing these patterns can help you see how much your ego influences your daily life. Think about the stories you tell yourself. especially those that create feelings of separation or neediness. Do you notice a pattern of needing approval or feeling insecure? Ask yourself whether these stories are based on truths or just interpretations shaped by the ego. When you observe your reactions to events, consider if they stem from genuine awareness or from ego-driven fears. Reflecting on these distinctions helps clarify the difference between identity rooted in the ego and the awareness that simply observes without judgment. Another useful question is to ask, what am I avoiding by clinging to my beliefs or habits? The ego often resists change because it fears losing control or identity. Do I notice a recurring need to prove myself or to be right? By examining these urges, you begin to see how much of your behavior originates from the ego's desire to protect itself. Regularly pausing to ask, is this reaction coming from my true self or from the ego, can slowly shift your perspective toward greater awareness. Additionally, consider times when you felt overwhelmed or upset. Reflect on whether those feelings came from an attachment to a particular outcome or a sense of personal identity. Question whether your response was based on understanding or on judgments rooted in the ego. Recognizing these moments offers insight into how the ego creates unnecessary suffering, and it opens a space for choosing a calmer, more conscious response instead. Over time, consistently asking yourself these types of questions builds a clearer understanding of the ego's patterns versus the effortless experience of consciousness. It's like shining a light on hidden corners of your mind. This awareness doesn't require judgment. Simply observing your thoughts and feelings can slowly loosen the ego's grip. The goal is to notice the difference between the stories your mind invents and the awareness that simply observes without labeling or resisting. Starting with simple breathing exercises can help quiet the noise of the mind. As you breathe in, imagine drawing in calm and clarity. As you breathe out, release tension and control. Spend a few moments doing this without trying to change anything. Just be present with your breath. From this place, gently shift your focus inward, noticing the sensations, sounds, or feelings that are present without labeling them. Let them come and go without attachment or judgment, as if you are simply witnessing what arises. When your thoughts start to drift, gently remind yourself that you don't need to follow them. Picture your mind as a vast sky and your thoughts as passing clouds. Notice them as they drift by, but don't hold on to them. This visualization supports the surrender of attachment to mental activity. Over time, you may notice a deeper sense of stillness emerging, where the mind is quiet and consciousness feels more accessible. Use prompts during meditation to guide your attention inward. For example, ask yourself, what is aware of my thoughts right now? Or can I find a place within where thoughts are not necessary? These questions encourage a shift from identifying with the content of your mind to experiencing the awareness that observes all. Rest in that space for a few moments, feeling the connection to something beyond thought and emotion. Throughout your practice, remember that surrender isn't about forcing the mind to stop, but about allowing it to relax into stillness. If your thoughts become persistent, gently acknowledge them without self-judgment and return your attention to your breath or the feeling of being present. This gentle return repeatedly trains your awareness to rest in what's present, fostering a deeper connection with your natural state of consciousness. Over time, this process can become more natural, leading to periods of quiet clarity even amidst daily activity. Simple daily reminders, like noticing your breath or pausing before responding, can support your ongoing connection to awareness. These moments of mindfulness reinforce the understanding that beneath the complexity of thoughts and feelings, a calm, aware space always exists. Practicing patience and consistency will help you cultivate a smoother experience of surrender and a stronger bond with your authentic awareness. If you've taken anything from this book, let it be this. You are not your thoughts. You are not your reactions. And you are not the stories your mind repeats when it's afraid. Those things arise in awareness, but they are not the awareness itself. Living beyond the ego doesn't mean you'll never feel fear, anger, or resistance again. It means you'll recognize them as experiences, not identities. You'll still plan. You'll still think. You'll still participate fully in life. But you won't be lost inside the noise as often. Conscious living isn't dramatic. It doesn't announce itself. It shows up as a pause before reacting, a breath before speaking, a quiet choice instead of an automatic one. Some days you'll forget. Some days the ego will grab the wheel again. That's not failure. That's the path. Awareness doesn't demand perfection, only noticing. And every moment you notice, you return, not to an idea of who you should be, but to the simple, steady presence that was here before the mind started talking. That is a new way of living. And it's available now.